we've officially made it live.
We're alive.
I'm hoping we'll get the countdown here in a second.
It's
to let me know.
alive.
Let's see if we can get there. Yeah, hey, we're live.
Hey,
hello.
we made it.
We made
Hello.
it. We made it. Only about an hour late. I apologize.
Sorry, everybody.
For that.
It's okay.
Technical
We're here.
difficulty.
Well,
Better,
yeah.
better late than never,
That's right.
That's what they
as
say.
they say. As they say.
That's what they say.
How's everybody doing tonight? Hopefully, not too many people bailed on us for the later time slot. We got pushed back. I heard they had pushed somebody else more important in front of us. That's why we actually got pushed back.
Yeah, we got bumped.
We got
Classic
bumped.
bumpage.
Baloney.
It's crazy right now.
You know.
It's baloney. No, hey, guys, thank you for tuning in. We had some technical difficulties with the webcam. We've got everything working now, and things seem to be going good. So we'll go ahead and kick it off. Got some local shout-outs we're going to get into. We're going to go over a couple other, I guess, some local, some non-local things, and then do as we always do and just kind of kick into some sports topics.
Yeah.
Main topic, I think, tonight is the DH spot.
DH.
Universal DH, potential DH players that could have maybe moved to that position and stayed in the NL.
Yeah.
We had a fan that was actually asking about that, so we're going to talk about that.
Seems
tonight.
like that's becoming a reality, so let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Universal DH.
That'll be fun.
Upon
That'll be
request as
exciting.
well, too, we can all see everyone's face now, minus Mark's slightly. We're trying to work on that. Small room in here, so thank you guys for
Small
the
room,
feedback.
Big guy.
We
People
rearranged
needed
the-
to see Mark's face. They were
Yeah.
clamoring, and here it is, folks.
The
You got what you asked
Hopefully
for.
you have no nightmares now that you can actually see what the microphone might have been
The
blocking.
crowds had the pitchforks, and they were ranting, and they said, we want
They're
Mark's
outside
face in the
with
podcast.
Yeah.
Flames.
I'm here.
He's here. There we go.
Got it.
All right, guys, a couple things we want to talk about. We always do some local shout-outs, so I'm going to start off by doing mine. The St. Louis Fashion Fund actually had donated masks to the food pantry, over 14,000 masks in
cool.
just 45 days. So
Wow.
apparently, like, he had hired on like 12 seamstresses or that were retired or something like that, and put them back to work for a good cause, and they ended up putting
Very
together, 14,000 masks in 45 days. That's incredible.
Wow.
But they got some
crazy.
blisters on those fingers, man.
Heck yeah.
Very good.
Also, another good
Shout
news as
out.
well, in St. Louis news, at least, if you are someone that is just getting out of high school looking to go into college, SLU is not going to force you to take the ACT or the SAT this year for the fall classes.
Oh,
Wow.
So where was that at when I was going to school?
Good
Yeah.
for you out there.
Yeah.
So,
That's
But no,
Very
that's
good.
that's really
Good
nice that
news.
they're doing that. They're trying to open it up. I think in the article they were saying they wanted one less thing for people to worry about, and with everything that's going on.
There's enough.
So yeah,
There's
there really
enough.
is. There really is. So those were two cool things that we had. Other than that, just some like local like Corona news, I guess you say, that remdesivir
Corona.
drug. We're supposed to be getting a nice bundle of that into Missouri. That's supposed to it's got like 35% turnaround as far as your recovery time if you get it. Some guy at Mizzou, I think we talked about that a couple episodes ago.
yeah, I think
found
so.
a,
It's like an alternative to the chloroquine or whatever they were trying
that
to bring in.
BS is, yeah.
Hydrochloroquine.
This one actually is showing good results,
that's good.
and yeah, we're proud of that.
Not many
So
side
we're
effects.
apparently going to have some of that coming into Missouri as well. So Mark, as always, we always like to. Well, since you've been coming on the show, we've been wanting to kind of throw some local breweries out there and talk about some beer. So
I'm
what
a
do you got for
beer
me?
kind of sore, so I got something from Rockwell Brewing called Bird Up. It's actually a dry hopped rye pale ale, and it is amazing. Actually,
Bird
if you get a
Up.
chance to go over there off Vandevenner, it is awesome. It's a very cool setup.
Awesome looking brewery.
It
We
is
talked
very
about it.
neat.
It's made out of shipping containers
Yeah.
or like a tractor trailer containers. You know, you
Okay.
can't miss it off there.
Can't miss it.
behind the Atomic Cowboy down there off Vandevenner.
They got
I
some
believe.
great beers. I got Stand By actually right here, so that's also a very good one. It's a hoppy pilsner, so if you get a chance to check out Rockwell Brewing, I mean, you can pretty much find it at any grocery store, but hopefully they get that patio up and going, and people can go there. I know you can do curbside pickups right now, but I imagine that should be right around the corner,
Yeah,
opening up that patio, and it looks like it's a lot of fun.
yeah.
Beautiful place.
So,
cool
been to a
cans,
cool
cool
place.
labeling. Really cool.
Yeah, very neat. This is actually very good if you're a pale ale person. Definitely check this out. So
Bird Up.
you find that pretty much at the grocery store if you can't get to the brewing
I see.
brewery.
I see.
So
And you've been to a lot of these breweries yourself personally, right?
yeah. So I'm sure I'll have a bunch more. There's a lot in St. Louis, and there's a lot more to post. So
Yeah.
uh,
We look
see
forward
where
to
I
talking
go to
about
the
it.
next one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Any recommendations as well in the chat? Let us know as well. Real quick, we'll go
Absolutely.
off. We got Jeff Rickerman in as always, and John Nesloff saying he wants to see a part of that sexy ginger leg as well. Jump.
Can you get it?
Don't we
Can
all?
you get it in there?
Can you get your leg up that high?
They're pretty white, so you should be able to get a piece. It should be lighting up the dark space below, so you should be able to see that.
We have an under table camera coming soon.
We got
Under table view.
We got Vicky Saris, a good friend of mine from Georgia, is tuning in. She says, "Send some of that beer down here to Atlanta."
Yeah,
We can make that
so
happen.
we can do that.
We'll be seeing you
They
here
got some
shortly.
good
Here.
stuff.
So we'll see. Maybe I can bring some of this down for you to try out. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Long time fan Jimmy Tracy pops in saying, "Hey boys, Nick Axley and also Alex Kenny tuning in again. Thank you,
Yeah.
man. Appreciate that." And then Sarah Saffold says, "Locally owned, incredible."
Yep,
Yes,
very good.
Still,
Yep.
she also shouted out the 630. You ever heard of
Yeah,
that distillery?
yeah,
Another
absolutely.
local place. She's a,
pretty cool.
she's
Very
a big
cool.
fan of the bee's knees out there. If you've ever tried that,
Is that right? Is that the fan favorite?
That's the fan favorite apparently from that place. But that's a really good local distillery.
Did,
awesome.
did you hear about Four Hands Brewing Company installing a walk-up window?
No,
Yes,
Yeah, that's
that's a real
awesome.
thing.
Really?
They're taking the time right now during the kind of Corona downtime, and instead of looking at it as, oh no, we don't have business,
Right.
they're doing renovations and they're actually fixing up some of the stuff. From what I saw in the article, one of the things
Now's the
adding
time to do
on,
it.
adding on sanitation stations and stuff
Right.
like that, as well as a walk-up window that is going to be permanent. Apparently,
That's
A lot of these bars and restaurants that are bars and restaurants are still getting their food to go, but they were having
Yeah.
problems with the legalities of getting their liquor to go. But I think a lot of them have worked that out. I saw Mission Taco giving out their
Mission Taco.
margaritas in gallons and half gallons. I mean, come on, that's awesome. Like
That's very
I
cool.
talked last time about getting narwhals, frozen liquor to go. I mean, that's so many
interesting
jobs.
what's up. Yeah.
Brought so many jobs by allowing that. So
yeah.
absolutely.
it's great. It's a great. Thing.
And then I got a little shout out to Roberto's, Trattoria and Chop Outs. It's
Hey.
probably one of my favorite restaurants in St. Louis. It's in Concord Plaza, and
South County legend.
it is awesome. Seafood's amazing. They got homemade pasta. Rigatoni alla vodka is like my favorite. I have to have it.
All right.
It's got like all types of seafood in it. It's fantastic. They're taking reservations now, starting Monday, so you can actually eat inside.
That's
They
nice.
actually divided up the tables. They have like a plexiglass thing to divide up each table, so you
Okay.
can still go there.
So
and
everyone gets a booth,
everyone gets a booth, or even
or
at the
their own
bar,
plastic container.
they're
that they can
divided
sit
in two.
With a sneeze guard.
Or the sneeze guard.
But
That's
hey,
nice.
you can go
Everyone
there.
hates this phrase, but I mean that's going to be the new normal.
You know,
No, hey, I'll tell you.
I'll say it.
I was watching
sneeze guards over everything.
I was watching TV earlier and I saw somebody reporting a news thing that was saying that one restaurant was actually filling like every other booth with mannequins.
Oh my
themed.
God.
Feels like you're
Well, no,
around.
here's the thing. So it's themed to their like it's a 50s styles kind of like restaurant diner. So they have all these mannequins dressed up in like 50s clothing and whatnot and sitting
That's
every
cool.
other one. So while you sit there practicing social distancing, it still
Yeah.
feels as if you have people around you.
got people
now,
around you.
if you're creeped out by mannequins and whatnot in suits,
Wrong place for you to go.
wrong place.
Probably
for you to
shouldn't be
at.
there then.
No,
Yeah.
no, not a good thing to do. But it looks like they're doing something a little different, at least to try out. To instead of putting up a plexiglass wall in
Right.
between everybody, they're just going to say, all right, you know what? Let's just put some mannequins there and have some fun with it. I can I can dig
It's not
that.
too bad.
You can dig that. I've even heard about that happening in a lot of arenas and sports places that are resuming sports, just cardboard cutouts and artificial fan noise
We're gonna watch
being
that.
pumped into those.
We may
things,
watch
man.
baseball games with like cardboard
kidding.
people in the stands. That's going
just
to be
to give the
interesting.
feeling of fans. It's
Yeah.
Well, hey, I want to throw this out there. So
Yeah.
I was sitting here working from home today, and Mark, you actually going from a shout out from a music recommendation from you last week.
Yeah.
Pigeons playing ping pong.
So good.
Quadruple P for those of you that don't know. PPP.
It's just like happy and chill.
It's
It
a
is.
nice, it's a
It
nice
really
jam
is.
band. We had some people that were really throwing back some comments about it last time, saying that they liked it a lot.
Just
so
fun festival funk, and you listen to one of their first albums, Psychology, which is the real hitter.
Yeah, that was
You know, that's a
Yeah.
so you like
Very
that
good.
one?
Yeah,
That
I
was
just-
the one you like the most.
You know what? I just was sitting in the car. I was waiting for somebody, and I'm just like, I'm gonna put it on. And then I listened to the whole thing, and I downloaded it.
That's awesome.
And then I downloaded another one, and I was like, this
Nice.
is pretty good. I like
Nice.
it. So
bad.
yeah,
Hey,
very
real-
good
Just give it a
recommendation.
chance. You
Real
just-
quick, in the comments, we have Sam Schubert says, "Hey guys, what's going on, Sam? Thanks for tuning in." Jeremy
Sam?
Lath,
What's up,
Mike
Sam?
Catraba both say what's up. Thanks for tuning in, guys, as well. We got a topic actually that Mike Catraba had brought to our attention that we wanted to elaborate on a little bit more. I think.
yeah.
So we're gonna go into that pretty deep tonight with the whole DH spot there. So
Yeah.
Let's see what we got
Very
here.
interesting.
Sam Schubert says Civil Life is top notch. They have beer
Civil
to go
Life,
and
very
even
good.
recyclable growlers.
Love
Yep.
Civil Life.
Civil
Another
Life is
awesome
very good.
patio.
Yeah.
Great place.
I'll make my way to Civil Life for
Right.
sure.
We're working
Brett,
on
Working
Brett
it around.
Price.
Shouting them
Brett
all
Price says
Yeah.
thanks, Mark.
Absolutely.
And Morgan Longoria says, Kyle, your shirt is incredible. Thank you so much. This is social distancing champion of 2020. And yes, again, it is still Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah.
You're welcome.
that
Thank
damn
you for,
Sam Squatch.
Thank you for calling that out, Morgan. I saw this and I was like, I have to have that shirt for sure. So Jeremy Lath says, Kyle always wears awesome shirts. Thank
There
you.
you go.
I appreciate
There you go,
that.
man.
I thrive to please, and I'm glad that you guys like my Chive orders.
Very good.
Because all of the shirts that I wear, I
good.
should be sponsored by Chive. If anyone out there works for Chive, let me know. I have a lot of their shirts, and they're entertaining to me, and they're
Get
all
him a
kind of
shirt.
like, they're novelty. They're like Billy Madison and Jay and Silent Bob and all these things that like I grew up to.
And,
So I mean,
Bill
I can't
Murray.
help but to. Oh, and how can you not like
Love
Bill
Bill
Murray?
Murray.
Yeah. So hey, let's throw this out there just real quick too before we get into the music side because I know you want to get into that a little bit deeper.
You know, I got music news for y'all.
We're gonna go around the table here and we're gonna have you guys choose between 1 and 5. I'm gonna throw out someone's name whenever we do it. You choose. We have these jelly beans set up that are apparently go from mildly hot to extremely hot.
We got we got the jelly bean challenge going here.
So we've actually bunched them up in groups. We've got them 1 through 5. We don't know which one's the hottest, which one is the smoothest. Maybe someone does that put them there.
We
Maybe
might.
someone does.
But we're gonna
I
let you
haven't told
guys
anyone.
randomly choose a number 1 through 5 for one of us to try, and then we're going to painstakingly have to eat one of these jelly beans on the air. At least one, and then we'll go around and maybe have some fun with it. What do you say?
That's okay. You can do that.
So,
We can do that.
all right, everybody got that. We'll give you guys time to let that soak in.
Let
We
it
got
soak
Sam
in.
Houston says, "Love my ginger brother, Mark Houston."
I love you
And
too,
so-
brother.
And so do we, Sam.
Love
Thanks.
you.
We
Love you,
appreciate
Sam.
that.
Yeah.
Lots,
Someone's got
lots of
to.
love, man. We appreciate that. So, what do you got for us for some music?
Well, look.
You have Pigeons playing ping pong. We got
Yeah.
Mark's a new fan. We
I
got
am a
people
new
out there that
fan.
might have listened to it as well.
You know, we've reached that point in the night where there's music news out there, and you know, I always start it with some depressing news of things that have actually probably been canceled, but actually they haven't probably been canceled. They have definitely been canceled. So I'm not going to do that tonight.
I got one cancellation later, though. I'm sorry. Spoiler alert.
no.
Got one cancellation. We don't have a show
No.
without
Well,
cancellation.
look, things are getting canceled, but the good thing is these things are being rescheduled and they're being brought to you virtually. Virtually, you can see them on your computer screen. You can see them on your phone screen, and now bands are bringing their talents to drive-in theaters. And there's one big festival that happens every year. If you're a jam band fan out there, you know about the Beanstalk. It happens in Colorado.
You know about the beanstalk.
You know about the
I know about that beanstalk.
Magic Beans, sick jam band, funky, really sick. Always a great lineup of the Beanstalk. It's kind of been scaled back this year. Kitchen Dwellers, Cycles, the great Salmon Famine. You know them all.
A lot of these are just feel-good jam bands, too.
You know, funky,
you
feel
like
good
that
jam
feel-good
bands. If you
music.
like to dance, which is another question, like they're coming to drive-in theaters. Are you gonna? We just all gonna be dancing on top of our cars?
mean,
Probably.
I might
Maybe.
be.
Sounds awesome.
Maybe people will be dancing in their car, feel a little more comfortable having the four walls around them.
on
You
the
know?
ceiling.
So the audio is
Right.
going to be, it's just like a drive-in theater. They've changed it. I mean, that's the way to social distance for concerts. I imagine a stage there, but I'm pretty sure this is just, they're playing the concert digitally onto the screen, and all the audio is going to be beamed to the attendees in their vehicles, basically just like a drive-in movie,
That's awesome.
which is pretty
It is
cool.
pretty cool.
You know, that's cool. I appreciate that.
I mean, they're at least
gotta-
thinking outside the box.
You are. You have to start somewhere. In Europe, we have seen a lot of actual drive-in, like live stage.
electronic
You
music.
pull right up to it.
It was like really
Electronic-
grimy, like
Sure. Yeah, a lot of that's already happened. That's coming. That's just where we're at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Really
know.
quickly, we've got Kathy Tier tuning in. How are you doing as well? Hey, Bubba, back at you. And then Jimmy Tracy is saying, Mark, how's that baby going? Because, of course, being a new father.
That baby is wonderful.
That baby is wonderful. I've
every
seen the
minute.
smiles on that baby's face.
Even every time he wakes me up at 1 a.m,
Yeah?
spits up all over me. It doesn't even matter.
It doesn't
Baby,
matter.
happy daddy.
It's the best thing ever.
There you
Happy
go.
daddy.
There you go.
awesome.
Jordan
Very happy
Smith
day.
says, what's going on, Kyle? Hey, what's up, Jordan? Thanks for tuning in. You've been on almost every show as well. We appreciate the support. And Roy, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. I'm glad that you got to finally catch in a show as well. So one cancellation I wanted to throw out there, too, that I was telling you about is that they're doing the St. Louis Comic-Con. It's canceled. So I've got a lot of friends that are into that kind of stuff, and I mean, sometimes they have like cool people like celebrities
wanted
and
to
stuff
go to
that
one.
comes there.
I've
I'm
never
gonna
been to
check
one.
one out one of these times.
Yeah.
I don't know if St. Louis is the one to go to.
I don't think
I
it
think
is.
San Diego is like the main one that you want to go
For
to.
sure.
I think
But if
Chicago.
any of you guys have
There's a
been to
few
any
big
Comic
ones.
Cons,
Yeah.
let us know. Also, in the music aspect, Nick says the music news about Funktronic, the lead singer of System of a Down and the lead from Mindless Self-Indulgence.
Wow.
Like that.
I've
Interesting.
seen that.
Interesting.
Self-indulgence. Very good.
Yeah. We got
Very
Mike
good
Hoff
band.
also tuning in, says, "What's up, boys?" So,
Yeah,
what's
Comic
up?
Con. That's a big deal, Comic Con, because I do work in the trade show convention industry, and you got to think if we can't gather in huge groups for a long period of time,
It's going to cause problems.
That's gonna, that could be an
good.
obsolete.
So, I also noticed, I don't know if you guys did, but this kind of like, I'm not a big pool guy. I mean, you could probably tell. I'm very pale.
I actually can't swim. You know that?
You can't swim.
No.
I did not know that.
I mean, I still get in
fact.
the water and stuff, but
So like you don't know
I
how to
could
swim?
die.
Like you don't even you can't even flail your arms a little bit and
no.
What
Dead
do
in
you
the
use?
water.
Do you
Ris-
use
really?
Floaties?
your floaties?
I feel a little bad about wearing floaties, but I will.
Sometimes you need to if you can't.
Can
I mean,
It's floating. If it's floaties or drowning, you're gonna.
I
pick
don't know.
floaties every time.
I never learned. You know, when I was little, I almost drowned in the bathtub when I was a kid.
yeah,
Because my sister was supposed to watch me,
yeah.
and she
That
like
was
ran off.
Just a bad moment.
And
to
I'm
run off, huh?
wondering if maybe that's
scarred you.
PTSD.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking
It's
I'm
real.
Now
drowning.
here's what I'm gonna get at though. So in the news though, pools are closed, right? They don't want you
yeah.
to be in
a
pools
shame.
and stuff like that, so they're closed up. So I call a revolution, and I want to bring back the slip and slide full fledged. Only instead of putting like water on there and like suds and soap, you just put like disinfectants and whatnot, and then you
That
just
would probably be a lot
slide
of fun.
straight
Soap
down
and hand
disinfectants.
sanitizer.
Have some like Lysol spray you in the face as a how is your mother on the way
That's
through?
probably
Make
gonna
sure
hurt,
you wear
though.
your goggles. That's gotta burn.
Yeah, it probably burns.
That's
I'm just
gotta
saying, having some
It
fun
would
with
burn.
it.
Great idea.
Just letting you guys know, pools are closed, but that doesn't mean you can't get a slip and slide.
It doesn't. Get a blow up pool. Those are cheap.
blow-up
I think
pool.
we're on our way to getting a blow up pool.
I can
Those
swim in
4-seaters.
those.
There you go. Mark, have you ever just lazily ran through a sprinkler once or twice?
I have.
Yeah?
And I didn't. I was okay. But
Okay.
I thought about the Little Fishes program at the YMCA.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
but I don't think they'll let me go.
Well, we're gonna work on that. If anyone out there
Anyone
actually
wants to-
is
Get the
a
under eight to,
does swimming
10
lessons,
hours.
we need to get Mark
I'm
on that
available.
list
Yeah, I'm
immediately.
getting.
He's got a newborn.
gonna have to
He's
teach
gonna
my
have
kid
to
how to
teach
swim.
these traits down. It's
That'd
a
be a
trickle down
no before
system.
me.
It'd be a fun show, actually. A
That
fun
would.
bonus show for you guys to.
But yeah, I'm
Mark
calling
learns
for
how
it.
to
Who's-
swim.
Promise to keep my
Somebody
shirt
let
on.
me know. Somebody let me know. I'm sorry. I just had to let you know that the slip and slide seems to be the way to go.
I think it's the way to go.
Jimmy says, "Rock the floaties, Mark. No shame in the game."
I'll do it.
Shame in
No
the
big
game.
deal.
Jeremy Lay says he loves the Expos hat, so
Yeah,
shout out to
thank
that
you.
as well too.
Thank you.
Jeff Chapman says, "I'm down." I think that was for the slip and slide ideal. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. And then what else we got here? He said kids wanted to go to Chuck E. Cheese the other day, closed. Ooh, Chuck E. Cheese is closed, so the kids have none. I mean, I used to be Chuck E. Cheese. I could
What?
probably be.
We touched on that.
We
last
touched on that
episode,
on an
yeah.
episode, but I mean, I have experience,
did.
Mike. If we need to, I can make.
You might
a
be able to
birthday
bring
come
Chucky
true.
to your house.
You
yeah.
might be able to do it.
Yeah.
You get a suit.
Have you seen Chucky lately? He's like lost weight and stuff. It looks like he has a drug problem.
Chucky.
He seriously does.
We need
I
to
mean,
get
I'm not
Chucky to
gonna lie to you.
rehab.
I used to whenever you go to Chuck E. Cheese, whenever you're a kid, you go
He
in
had the
there
belly.
and he had kind of the belly. He
He
was
did.
rounder, right?
Sure.
He walked around. He kind of had the belly, right? No belly anymore. Slim all the way down. Went for my goddaughter's birthday this last year.
It's the whole image thing that we're it's the whole Instagram. You know, Chucky probably has an Instagram page.
Probably.
He probably
on the
does.
beach,
He does.
losing weight, getting toned.
I bet you Chucky.
I don't
has
like
a,
the image that he
heavier-
portrays.
He probably has a
Chucky.
heavier presence on social media than I do.
We need to look into that.
Like Mechanitronics.
It's
like,
getting better.
I'm not even going to say
It's
it
true.
since I'm Mr.
It's
Docs,
true.
but I have another documentary, but I
Yeah?
don't want to talk about it now. But you've probably seen Rock of Fire Express, have you?
I have not. No.
What is that?
Never,
We got Docs here. Nick Heath, aka Docs,
Mr.
was
Docs
nicknamed by,
here.
I believe, was that Nesselhoff that gave him that
That
name?
was Jimmy Tracy.
Jimmy Tracy gave him that name.
Called and let me know.
Docs. I
Apparently,
like that.
I was talking about documentaries a lot last time, and for all those that I annoyed, I apologize. But like I said, I just like to learn more about people's real lives and real things rather than fantasy in some of these shows.
Speaking of fantasy, this guy's almost fantasy. What do you guys think about Elon Musk?
He's a genius.
I mean, he's out there, isn't he?
He's
Yeah.
out there. He is a fantasy.
So we talked
Okay.
we talked about Starlink. You can look up in the sky. You can see You can see the satellites go by here and there. We had Carl actually had commented on that whenever he was tuning in. Haven't seen Carl here yet tonight, but I'm sure he'll be in later. But there's some people that were like, yeah, you look up in the sky, you see these satellites go over the top. Some people think it's cool. Some people are like, man, I don't really care to look up and see satellites that are providing internet to people.
Well, they're really bright, apparently.
That's what
and
they're
that's
saying.
kind of people's beef so far because you can see them. We saw them. I'm not going to fully confirm that we saw them in Montana when I was looking at the skies, but you can see every satellite, and we saw them following each other. I didn't count 40, but the lights are bright, and I think that's.
I have a confirmation here. Chucky is actually on keto. No drug problem for Chucky. He actually did keto.
Healthy. Good
Yeah,
for him.
good for Chucky,
Fish
man.
Good
diet,
for him.
fish.
I knew they closed down for a while.
Pescatarian,
I knew they
probably,
closed down
too.
for a while. I was wondering maybe he was just trying to get himself right, like Jared from Subway.
He never got himself right. I don't think.
I don't think he ever did get himself right.
Chucky.
Even when he did, he wasn't right.
I respect Chuck E. Cheese a little more than Jared.
Nick, actually, speaking of Chuck E. Cheese, Mike Hoff brought up a good point here. We actually had your 21st birthday, surprise birthday party there, didn't we?
Boy,
20.
How excited were you?
That's the place to be.
that was
Shelly and Paul.
wow. They had that. That happened.
That happened. 21st birthday party, Chuck E. Cheese.
I was pissed too, but I was, what?
How
What
could
a,
you be
how,
pissed?
what a joke! Like, why be mad?
First
at
of
that?
all, they have.
I was telling my dad,
fantastic
I
pizza.
saw everyone's cars there. I was like, if my friends are in here, I'm gonna be so pissed.
You got to admit, though, let's be serious. I mean, they have fantastic pizza.
hey,
There's
we had a good
arcade
time.
games. There's video games.
We had a
All
great
right?
time.
Skee-ball.
You better
Skee-ball.
believe we went in there and,
Come
and
on now.
popped the shot and ran each other through the gerbil tubes for sure. You better
Yeah.
believe we did all that.
Yeah, I'm getting corrected here. It's Mr. Docs.
Mr.
I'm going to
Docs.
take care of
Mr.
that.
Docs.
Thank you,
Mr.
Jimmy, for
Docs.
correcting. He says he loves hearing it. He's a pioneer of the movement as far as nicknames.
You know I had to bring up a doc. We are only 20 minutes deep. I had to bring up a doc. You know it's coming.
Dude, that's awesome. So, all right, having some fun there. But seriously, though, now, Elon Musk, though, the news that we have on him. So, what was his kid's
He's been
name?
busy lately.
What was his kid's name again? I have to go out there. There's some names that I've heard that are like pretty far out there.
I took a note. I got his name.
But then you get the Elon Musk, and it's like almost like a mathematical
You can't
equation.
even really. It's the AE. So he says it's pronounced X H Archangel 12.
That is the most badass name I've ever heard in
Badass.
my
You
life.
can't beat that. Like he's
Should
won.
have named my kid that.
And it's X
like a handle,
AE symbol A-12. I mean, it is basically just like a mathematical equation.
It's basically spelled out in alien hieroglyphics.
And Elon Musk, this kid might be an alien. With Grimes, if you don't know Grimes, listen to some of her early music. She's dope, but
Hey.
they might both be aliens. And they might have just produced an alien.
So, I mean, that's interesting news. We got the satellites with him. We've got the baby with him. But it doesn't even stop there. He actually had his California
Going rogue.
California plant that they had shut down because of COVID. And it had been long enough for Elon, he said.
And they had been in a battle, too, going back and forth. And
He got called out by like the governor or something
no,
like that?
just some woman, an alderwoman maybe, or a congresswoman somewhere in the city close
hear
to
about
where
this,
the
Mark?
plant is.
No?
Told him to go F himself. Sorry, kid show.
So what does Elon
go
do?
beep, 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 beep yourself.
So what does Elon do? He basically says, we're opening up the plant, and if you arrest anyone, I ask you to do it to me.
arrest
and he
me.
basically opened the plant back up.
Tesla's back open. He was going
So-
to move it totally out of California, which is probably a terrible...
Right.
California, I don't think you want that.
Could you
No.
imagine that?
Taking all those jobs from California who desperately needs that.
Were
Yeah.
they opening up in mid-June now?
I don't know.
California? I know it's getting...
California, I
pushed
heard,
out
just
farther
got
and farther.
3. I mean, I don't even know. I haven't been paying too much attention, but I heard they got like 3 months. There's a 3-month extension on the stay-at-home order in LA and things like that. Like,
My God.
it's getting a little out of
Crazy.
control, and it's just because these hot spots in all these states, and the whole state has to pay for it.
Okay.
But we're not getting political here. It is what it is.
So what do you think about that? It's a power move by Elon, right?
That is
Just
a
going
power
rogue, dude. He doesn't come get me,
don't care.
basically. And there's also, I think he reached a point where there's some legalities where he brought up some really good points, like we've reached a time in this. Actually, I don't know. Just read the news article if you guys don't know about it yet. He's opening up and he doesn't care.
Yeah. Or you could also take part in the poll I just posted up on who should take the first jelly bean. There's each one of our names on there. Go ahead and choose. We'll check that back here in just a minute and see exactly who will be
got a
trying out the
bean.
first one. And then whoever...
How about we just go in order? I'm not gonna lie, everybody. They're in order from weakest to hottest.
Let's skip all the
Sriracha,
crap.
jalapeno, chili pepper, habanero, and everyone's favorite ghost pepper.
You just ruined it.
But now
Now it's ruined.
But
It's ruined.
we're going in order.
We're gonna go in order. Oh, we're gonna try each one of them, or you want to let them?
You pick who you want to eat.
I think that's too many at once.
This is way too many.
You have to take the whole handful.
You should do like in stages, I think.
We can all go at once too.
Mike Catrava says the Neuralink is a scary thought. Yeah, I've heard about that. It's interesting.
You can communicate without talking.
Yeah.
So everyone can just read your mind.
That's pretty creepy. I'm for it. I'm for it.
People need to get out of my
That's
mind
a little
already.
crazy. Yeah.
Rachel, yes, we do business shout outs for sure. If you have one, let me know, and we would love to shout them out for sure.
Do it.
So, and Brian Phelps says he put all of his houses up for sale today for a total of like 93 million. Is that Elon Musk news? I guess.
He sold all his possessions. He said possessions mean nothing to him, and he's getting rid of all his houses and a lot of his stuff.
Oh no! Did we just lose the video here? It's not playing the video.
You
Sure, it says we're still live. I mean, we just says
still
playing the
going.
video. We'll still
You might
go.
have lost our
If we lost
faces.
video there, I apologize, guys. But we'll try to. We'll
Rough.
try
The
to keep
internet's
going
been
through
rough
it.
today on this Thursday.
Not been good for
It's not
us.
working with us tonight.
Oh well, it still says we're live. Can you guys still hear us out there? Let us know in the chat. We'll just keep going. So let's see what we've got here. We'll give it a second.
The Elon Musk news, that's
Elon Musk news broke the stream.
he did. He's been real popular this week. Maybe they're shutting us down. They don't want us to let.
Is that what it is?
Could be that you brought it up.
You think that Elon Musk is
Might
shooting
have.
down the
done it.
feed?
If you talk about him going rogue in California, we're shutting you down.
Jimmy and them says that they see us.
See you.
Hey, good.
We're still here.
Perfect. Everyone says they can see and hear us. So we'll just
Yeah.
keep on going. That
Keep
makes me
rolling.
feel a lot better about it. So Elon Musk is borderline genius / crazy. He has satellites flying in space that will provide internet. He has the weirdest name for a child, and he also is a rogue a manager that's going to go out on the front lines for his employees and make sure
just a
that he gets what they need.
Crazy.
Right?
I love what he has to say.
I mean, say what
Love
you
what he's
must,
doing for
but
this world.
I mean, Elon
Say
Musk
what
is
you
a cool
must.
dude. And then check out his podcast with Joe Rogan too, right? Those are always interesting.
He was just on for the second time a couple weeks ago, and it was highly intriguing and just interesting. He talked about all this. And
Yeah. So
it was fresh after the kid too. So that's when I think that's where I heard him actually pronounce the child's name, because who would have ever known
Figured
what
that
that
out.
said?
all right, well, hey guys, going out there. I mean, go ahead and pick off who you wants to start first on these jelly beans. Just throw out a name out there.
I'm
and
glad you guys
we'll
are
go
kind
ahead
of just passing this over to and forgetting about it, because eventually this is going to reach a point where it's going to suck. So thanks for kind of
I'll do it.
not
I don't
really
care.
paying attention.
It is what it is. I'm not really
I
hip
think we
on
should
that
just
number
all do
5.
it as we go on.
I'm not hip on number 5 either.
Of course,
hip on
no
that
one
five.
is, but we also,
So
Might not be
let's
bad.
talk
We'll
about
try.
this. First person to throw up one of our names in the chat will try the first jelly bean, and then we'll just go around the horn from there. But whoever his name gets thrown up in the chat first, we'll make them at least do the first one. In other news
Thank
as
you.
well, in music news, Post Malone did
Malone.
that charity live stream that did like what $400-something thousand.
So at the time,
or
it
was
made
it
a
a million.
Yeah, $4 million.
$4 million?
$4
Yeah.
point something million dollars it came in, man. Post Malone seems like a real good dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
I
know,
think
I don't
he
know too
gets
much
kind of a
about him,
bad
but-
rap. I don't know, like.
Maybe he's a pop
It's definitely
star
gets a
or-
bad rap because he
his
has an
tattoos
image
on
and
his face,
tattoos on his
you
face.
know.
Yeah.
Probably.
But,
Can't trust a guy with tattoos on his face.
His Nirvana was fantastic.
Dude.
Yeah.
So that's what
I
he
heard it was
did. He
awesome.
did-
I
yeah.
never even got to hear it. Someone at my work was like, "Did you hear his Nirvana?"
It
I'm
was
like,
good.
"No." He goes, "It'll blow your mind. You should hear it."
Brian says Kyle 5. Cool. I'm just gonna go straight to it.
Oh,
Not happy about it. What we get?
Kyle 5. I want to go 5.
All right.
We just
I just
ruined
did 5, and that's the hottest one. So it's got to get better from here, right? Woo.
it. You got to
And
choke
then
already.
Mike says, "My name."
Just choked a
Oh.
little. Cool. It's hot.
Mark, take the first one.
Mark 1.
All right.
Mark 1. Let's see what.
Why did I start off at 5? Thanks, Brian. All
Bad call. Now the game's over.
right.
Yeah.
Well, we've got it going
Terrible.
now.
One's
Well-
bad too. Well, I could have brought the puke or the dead fish or the dirty socks ones.
I think
like
I'd
you
rather
said.
do
I
that.
wouldn't have even
Hot
eaten
ones.
that.
I want to.
If I start getting the hiccups,
Oh,
man. For those of you that are
That was
watching,
one.
Well, I'm gonna go with.
these
4.
are god awful.
We're going backwards.
These are terrible.
This is hopping
If you're thinking about eating them, I probably wouldn't.
I would
No.
be. It's quarantine. Oh,
Yeah, it's terrible. Whose idea was this? Whose idea was this?
Oh,
Well, at least I did the 5th one,
My
so it
terrible.
can't get any worse.
there's worse than 4.
Did you already say something about A League of Their Own? Mary
No.
Pratt? Let's talk about Mary Pratt while my mouth's on fire.
One's hot.
One's hot.
One's hot. What is one?
Will you do 5 with me? Right
No.
now?
Just
Do we
do
have
it.
to?
Just do it. I did it.
Let's do 5. You gotta get this one with all the green dots too.
The ghost peppers are 5. Thank you guys for participating. We appreciate it.
Cheers. Cheers.
All right, hot jelly beans.
All right,
What
let's
can you
talk
do?
about this story while
Let's
we
talk about Mary Pratt.
chew on the ghost pepper jelly bean. Mary Pratt.
For those of you who don't know who Mary Pratt is, she was the one who A League of Their Own was made after.
It's based off her.
Yeah, it was based off of her.
Mary Pratt. She was a member of the Rockford Peaches, 1943 All
guys
American
remember the
Girls
song, right?
team.
Should we sing the song? 'Cause
Oh, we're the members
All right,
of
we're not gonna do the whole
All-American
thing, but you guys get it. If you,
got
haven't
it.
seen that movie,
We
then
sang it earlier, not gonna lie.
we did. I mean, it's a great movie, great song. Are you guys choking on those jelly beans?
Oh, this is fucking terrible.
All right. Well, hey, we have it out there. So I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna take 5 like a chant. All right. We've got besides Mary Pratt, the League of Their Own girl who just passed away. Rest in peace.
101
have-
years old.
A 70-year-old birthday as well by none
do.
other than Stevie Wonder.
Ladies and gentlemen, Stevie Wonder. I'm sure you know him. Another funk pioneer, R&B soul legend. It's his birthday. And yeah. You know Stevie Wonder.
He's funky.
He's funky
Okay.
as hell.
So, are you guys feeling the jelly beans?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure this
You
out.
feeling
here.
the jelly beans?
Terrible.
Actually, his birthday was honestly yesterday, but if you go to relics.com, you can relive his 1974 live performance on Musikleden, which is one of his most legendary performances from the 70s. Higher Ground, Don't You Worry About a Thing, Living for the City, Superstition. You know all the hits.
All the hits.
Happy
all the
birthday,
hits.
Stevie Wonder. It was sad we had to say goodbye to Little Richard, but Stevie Wonder's still kicking it. Is he blind or is he not? You seen
I
those
don't know.
videos?
What is there? Is there like some sort of conspiracy out of that?
So there's
he's
a
blind
real
or not?
good video out there of him and Paul McCartney in the same room, and Paul McCartney walks by,
You guys are
and
sweating.
he hits a. He walks by and he walks
man.
by
I
and he
can barely stand it.
hits a microphone stand and it falls and Stevie Wonder just catches it. So is it?
I
just,
need water. I'll be back.
Go ahead. Hey, grab me one of these things, would you?
Oh my God.
I
That's
ruined Mark.
hilarious.
We
So,
ruined
hey,
Mark.
We ruined Mark with the jelly bean. He did 2 though. He did 1 and 5. So he did the hardest, the harshest, and the weakest, but still it's good. Wait, the show's got to go on.
Really,
You
that
guys.
wasn't really that fun.
So, hey,
Apologize for that.
the Japanese rocket. How about the Japanese rocket that fell and just barely missed?
That's kind of scary.
Was it Los Angeles?
Somewhere in California, fell like 10 miles off the shore, which is very close for an exploded rocket.
Yeah, as
Debris
if,
to
as if
fall.
we haven't had enough problems going on in the LA area with crashes and debris and whatnot after the Kobe Bryant thing. Then you have the fact that possibly a part of a spaceship or a fuselage almost lands on Los Angeles.
You got to be more responsible with your exploding ships in space, China.
Yeah,
Was it China? Japan? What was
Japan?
that? Japan, Japanese
it was
ship.
Japan. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, regardless, you got Elon Musk who's throwing up like 40,000 satellites and not having any issues, and then you got a Japanese rocket that just part of it fell out of the
just
sky.
so happens to explode over Los Angeles.
You wonder what the the technology difference is between the two.
Elon Musk is an alien. I think
We're working with ancient alien
I'm
technology.
pretty sure he already knows what was going to happen.
You all right there? Just splash some water on your face? Thank you, sir. It's all right, folks. So
Brought a little excitement there. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we brought some excitement there. I appreciate you bringing the jelly beans in. We've gotten through a lot of our general aspect, I would say, or close to all of our general aspects that we have there. If you guys have anything out there that you would like us to throw out, let us know. Let's see what we have here. I knew that there was, let's see, a shout out. You want to do Agilis Systems, Links Up, Fleet Sharp, Aware, GPS, Command GPS, and Moto Safety. Look them all up. So shout out there for Rachel. Yeah, if there's anyone looking, it looks like you might have somebody that might be already interested in one of those too. So definitely thanks for throwing those out there. We love shouting stuff out like that. So how you guys feeling? You feel good?
No.
No? You're like, I'm not gonna lie. I feel
That
like
was hot.
my mouth feels like just straight gasoline.
It's it's like a can. I never thought a candy would be like any candy's not going to be that hot. Like the warheads, like these are extreme. You're like I can handle a warhead.
That
Those
was
are
ghost
easy.
pepper.
That's stupid. Don't
That was
ever do that.
definitely ghost pepper. All right. Well, let's talk about this. There was some sports news that we need to catch up on here. So, Yadier Molina in the news again. I don't think it's a controversial statement. Some people kind of approach it as such. He's saying that he is one of the greatest and that he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah.
I think there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I really don't think you can doubt it. If you look at it, can you believe this? Let me throw this out for you. Yadier Molina, we know how rough of a start of his career he had with the bat.
Yeah.
Right? We always knew he had a defensive background for a catcher. But his bat he had to constantly work on.
Yeah.
And if you look at what he's done right now for his career, he's a 278 or 280 batter?
Yeah, he's always
average?
Yeah, he's 282.
282?
Career batting average.
I mean,
For a
I don't think
catcher?
a guy like that I don't think that there should be any problem with a guy like that making a statement that he thinks that he has a ballot for the Hall of Fame.
I believe we looked at Johnny Bench, who was the consensus #1 overall catcher, and his batting average is
270.
20 points lower than
Yeah.
that. And so, I mean, yeah, it's a pretty good average for a catcher, if you ask
I'd say
me.
so.
I don't
I
understand. I don't
There's
understand
so many
the
good
beef.
catchers out there.
There it is. I mean, you can throw out a lot from our time and our era, but I mean, if you want to look at I think a shoe-in Hall of Famer. I mean, look at how many times he was at the All-Star game. Look at how many gold gloves he's got. He's got a World
9.
Series,
Two.
World Series. Sorry. So, I mean, he's got all the credentials that you would need to get into the.
Confidence to call himself the GOAT. And for all of us living in St. Louis
Now,
who have
did he-
watched him over the
now,
last
here's the
14
thing, though.
years,
Don't
know
get it-
that too.
Don't get it twisted, though. He didn't call himself the GOAT.
He says
He says he's one of the greatest
One
of
of
all
the
time.
best.
One of the greatest
So
of all
not the
time. So
greatest,
not
one
the
of
GOAT,
the
but one of the
greatest.
greatest. And I think you can absolutely
misspoke
put that
on
man in that league with him.
then I don't
think
think
you
you can
can.
argue.
Right.
I don't have an argument.
You've
for
got Mike Katraba tuning in and says that Yadi is the greatest defensive catcher ever. I can definitely, that's arguable for sure. I think that you make a very good claim there, and I agree with you. And he says his presence running the game is irreplaceable. It really is, and that's why when we talked about the other episode, I don't think he's going anywhere.
No, I don't think so either. I think
That was a ruse, not a ruse. Sorry, it was more of him speaking off of emotions and the fact that his contract is about to be up, and he needed to speak his mind and let them know what
doing that
is
forever.
going on.
He's an emotional guy. He will speak his mind, obviously, for sure. And he did. You're right. He says he wants to be remembered in 100 years as the best catcher to ever play baseball. He didn't consider himself the greatest of all time right now, but in 100 years, when people look back, they want to him. He wants them to think, "Damn it, Yadi was the best."
I mean,
Right.
if you think about it, how many guys are better? If you think about your radar, you think about how good Yachty was. How many guys are better? Maybe 8, 7 guys that
In
you
the
can
history
think
of
in
baseball?
the history.
Here's the thing, though. The only thing that really was a negative aspect of Yadi's entire career has been his speed.
Yeah.
People can argue like, oh, well, he stole bases. Yeah, because he's a smart base runner.
Sure.
You don't have to be
It's not
fast.
because It's
Right.
not because he was fast.
You
It
don't
was
have to be
because he was
fast
smart.
in order to steal bases, right? We've got Taylor Perkins saying Yadi's effect on the pitching staff is unmatched. I agree.
That's
I-
another thing.
I think that you can't take that out of consideration. The fact that he helps groom some of these young pitchers.
when we have
knows how to
pitching
call
coaches,
games.
yeah, he does.
Yeah.
The pitching coaches run out to the mound with him, and they're just like, well, they
There's
can't
a
sit back
there's a
like,
trust
"Go ahead,
with
Yadi."
Yachty, and Yachty has it from the beginning. All the players already trust him
Right.
going into it. So
Well, I mean, how can you not, right? I mean, and the thing I think that Yadi does is he controls the game. He controls the pitcher's emotion and mindset at times too.
Yeah.
Because of how calm and cool demeanor that he is, and the fact that he can pick somebody off at first base is just undeniable. I mean, he's
man, how many times did he bail us out doing that?
First base
It's
pickoffs,
unbelievable.
That's unbelievable. So quick.
Unbelievable.
Him and when Albert was here, they were just on the same page.
Yeah.
They knew when it was coming, and
I mean, you can name a few guys that you would put. You know, Ivan Rodriguez. You know, Carlton Fisk, Johnny
Mike
Bench.
Piazza.
He was
right?
a terrible catcher,
Right.
but he could hit. But
I mean-
if you think of guys who were that much better than Yachty, there aren't that
They're not.
many.
I mean, not anything that I think is standout.
No,
Right? Like if you look at his average, you look at his home runs maybe are a little bit lower than the average guy. He still hit some home runs, right?
Yeah.
But a guy that I think and he said it well for himself in the article as well. He took every step that he had to get there. He worked harder than anybody that you're going to find in the game to get where he's at.
no
And
doubt.
you know what?
So that's why he is undeniably one of the greatest of all time.
He still got it. He's still
still
got
got it.
enough in him. I have no problem signing Yachty.
I would
if he
take
wants
him
to
back.
stay.
I would take him back on the team for another 2 years. No problem. I wouldn't have a
Especially,
problem
like
with that.
we said too, he's not playing the amount of games he used to play. We got Wieters backing him up a little bit, taking
Yeah.
some weight off his knees a little
Exactly.
bit too, and he's got 2 more years in him.
It's a long, grueling summer in St. Louis sometimes. But
It is.
Yachty never seems to really not want to be out there. You got to love that. Any guy that you have who wants to be competitive and be out there, that's who you want. I don't know why
he's a
you'd want
badass.
someone else.
Yeah.
So I think we ride Yachty till he's done.
Who do you say is arguably the best catcher of all time?
I didn't get to see him play. I've seen video and things like that. Johnny Bench is
Johnny
got to be up
Bench?
there. He was a
Really?
great hitter.
I'm gonna go Josh Gibson.
Josh Gibson. I mean, he would be up there.
Now here's the thing, though. I mean, he played in the Negro Leagues most of the time, and then he moved over, I think, to the White Sox or something along those lines in the major leagues. I don't know if it
think
was
he
necessarily
did.
classified as the major leagues,
Yeah.
but you're talking about a guy that had a 350 something batting average. All right, like this dude was like unbelievable. He was like on the ESPN list that I looked at. I think he was like number 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But like to me, looking at him and Johnny Bench was just a natural, fantastic hitter, right?
Sure.
But you know, it's just one of those things where we only got to see so many people
Right.
in our time as well.
You know, there were guys who had glimpses who were really good. I don't know if you guys remember Charles Johnson. He was a catcher for the Marlins. He had like an amazing arm.
Yeah,
He was a good catcher. Benito Santiago, I brought up to him.
He's
Of
great.
Pudge was probably the best I've seen. That was just, he was the all-star. He was the starting catcher every year.
yeah.
And when you think about the National League, I mean, Contreras, Buster Posey are in that talk, but it's still Yachty still is in that mix every time.
Let me throw this out there. Micah Travis says Piazza, the guy who hit the pitcher trying to throw a guy out at second. Yeah, that guy. That was
Guy got
funny.
half a bat thrown on him by Roger Clemens.
Yeah, and then he
That was a
also
weird
got
move.
beat in the head.
I believe
as well,
he has
too.
the most home runs hit by a catcher.
Yes.
So if you're going to go,
He does
depends
it a
how you
lot.
want to measure it. Yeah, he was a terrible catcher defensively for the most part.
Yeah.
Couldn't throw anybody out. But he could hit.
He could hit.
He'll hit
could definitely hit.
427 dongs for you over his career. So
That's huge. That is
He
huge.
would have been real nice to have in a DH spot,
1,300
if you know what I'm
RBIs.
saying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which we're going to get on that too
Right.
here in just a minute.
Yeah.
So in some other news real quick, in some other baseball news, Luke Little, you hear about this guy? 19 years old, kid just basically going into college ball, throws 105 miles per hour.
Holy cow.
That's some gas.
I think it's
105 miles an hour. Can you imagine being in high school baseball and having a kid come out that's throwing gas at like 104 miles an hour?
dominant. I mean, how you can't catch up to
going to
that.
blow your arm
I
out.
mean, Jiminy Christmas. That's just absolutely insane. And I agree with you. Some of those guys that throw that hard, he's like 6'8". He's a monster. So he could be one of those guys like a Eckersley build or one of those guys that has
Randy
the capability to be a lengthier and whatever. You know, to me, I think that those guys' bodies hold up a little bit longer. Could be wrong. Could just be maybe something that you think about just because they're just a bigger
One thing,
stature.
Chapman's still throwing hard.
Yeah.
I mean,
And he's really
Jordan
kind
Hicks.
of Jordan
Jordan
Hicks.
Hicks, if he could stay
Young
healthy.
kid, let's keep his elbow healthy. But you're right. The young kids that are throwing heat like that are
It's a little
these days are destined.
kill you.
Yeah.
You're going to hurt your arm
Tommy
so
John.
bad doing that.
Yeah, you got the kid throwing gas at 105 miles an hour. I'm not sure what team might be. You know, I'm sure everyone's looking at him. He's throwing gas
Oh,
at
yeah.
105.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, some of the catchers too going back: Johnny Bench, Josh Gibson, 350 average actually.
Yep.
Yogi Berra, Carlton
Yogi
Fisk,
Berra.
Roy Campanella.
Roy Campanella.
Roy Campanella was a beast, man. I mean, as far as I think he won like a batting title as well, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, Mike Matheny was a great catcher here. He just couldn't hit. I mean,
He's a
he was
great
like a
defensive-
220 hitter,
He was
Yep.
great.
but he was a good
defensive.
he was a great defensive catcher.
Yeah. Did you see the Gary Bettman news? I think you told me about that, right?
No.
Yeah, some encouraging news from Gary Bettman, basically saying like canceling this season is out of the question. Like this, we are finishing the 2019-2020 NHL season in
like that.
some way, shape,
no
or
ifs, ands, or
form.
buts about it. He says it's going to happen. So
And
we hope he's a man of his word, and we hope that
We really hope that.
Yeah, we hope that that's something that he really ends up going through with too.
I don't know if he always has been, but we hope he is a man of his word. 'Cause
We
need
said
this.
there's that scare, right? There's like Marner that's scared to come back. There's players
A lot
that
of
are uncertain
professional
about certain
players.
things, and
Yeah.
they're talking about it.
So
they're
for
just
Tampa
questioning the safety of when this does all come back.
Well, doesn't everyone?
Which
I
is-
mean, let's take it off of a Major League Baseball platform. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's people that don't play Major League Baseball that are questioning the safety about having to go, opening things back up.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things, does it come down to the fact that you are employed and under contract, and you're obligated to play these games?
I was worried about it for myself, for work and things like that. I got a brand new baby. It scared me for a while, and
not
I don't
about-
think you don't need to be not scared, but at
Right.
some point, life moves on. I've got to have a living,
Sure.
You
and
have
we've
to
got to move.
live
And
life.
you can't sit there and
everyone's is just as uncertain about the next. It's
Everyone
kind of
is.
and some of the guys like Mitch Marner's a young guy,
Right.
You know, and I get it, and the aspect of it is that you're right. We can't stay behind closed doors,
Right.
You know, we've got
gotta get out
to
and
try
do
to
something,
figure
yeah.
out. We've got to beat this. What they say, right?
And I heard about it today. Just today, they talked about MLB having like multiple coronavirus tests for their players every week coming up when they do actually start. So they're going to be tested like on a regular basis, multiple times per week. It looks like
Interesting. Getting scraped
You know,
on the toppest part of their brain.
I think the hardest part for me is the players complaining about money.
Oh yeah,
the
really
revenue,
about
the
money.
revenue sharing, all this stuff with the
You're
owners.
playing 82 games. You're gonna get less money.
Yeah.
You don't have to play as much
we talked about
as
that,
you expect.
right? And
This is unprecedented time.
Yeah.
we
It
gotta
is.
we all have to have sympathy for each other.
All
in these
together.
times. Like
Do it for the fans. Do it
Come
for.
on.
I mean,
It's-
if you don't want to, then that just shows you really what we have to deal with. But I think a lot of these guys will actually end up playing. And if you don't want to play, maybe just let somebody else. Somebody else will come in and play.
yeah, these kids
Yeah.
out there's a bunch of
There's
kids out
plenty
there
of
who wanna
guys.
come out and play, man.
Plenty of guys that'll play.
yeah, Brian Phelps says, "How do you get the players back in the country who went back in Europe for quarantine?" I
great.
mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, they already talked about there being a 3-week process for like
Canadians,
training
Canadian
camp or
teams,
some
too.
sort of workout before they resume.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then I would imagine they would be the timeline that they would probably put would probably take care of that to where they would be able to get back and maybe shorten their workout time or something because of it. But I'm sure that they would be able to get them back. I think the biggest question, like you were saying, is the Canadian border. They're talking
Yeah.
about like no hockey's going to start until they figure out how players are going to come across the Canadian border and back.
Justin Trudeau up there, he's not dealing with it. So if you want to come up to, you can play hockey in Canada, but you're gonna have to quarantine if you
Yeah.
come up there. So that kind of defeats the purpose of
I'm curious
any
how
hockey going on in Canada.
how soon this all gets going. I keep waiting for something from
I
the
know.
NHL, and it
And that's
feels
the
like it's
problem,
there,
too.
but it never happens.
We're
Yeah.
running
I
out
don't
of
know.
time. It feels like 'cause
Right.
eventually, time still moves on, and I mean,
Well, yeah, the biggest
right.
the year's going to be over eventually, and it's like, well, we might start the season still. Well, I don't know.
Right.
The year's
Yeah.
over now.
and people ask the $1 million question too is like, if at what sacrifice are we going to bring sports back? No fans. Basically, it's going to be a stadium with no fans and just 2 teams playing. It's going to look like a practice game.
Yeah.
How are the energy levels going to be? How are the guys' health and whatnot going to be coming back from being laid off for so long?
Yeah.
There's so many things that come into play. But to me, I mean, don't get me wrong. People asked and said, "Hey, if you could get them back and have no fans but still televise it to where you could see your team play, I would watch every damn game, every
not-
game."
Just something.
If the Blues are on, I'm going to watch it.
Absolutely.
So
If the baseball's being played with no fans, that's all right. There's certain stadiums and players, we talked about it, like in Tampa and other places that barely can
They
fill
don't have fans
stadiums.
anyway.
It'll just be like you're playing a home game at Tampa.
Those TV
Right.
ratings are going to be through the roof.
I mean, it really is for sure. We got Mike Travis says, speaking about hockey and the Blues, been watching the 2019 run again, and man, a healthy Bo Meester was unreal. He was one of the most important players of that run.
No doubt.
Him and Parayko's line, hands down, were the best defensive pairing that we had.
and
for
J-Bo
sure.
takes a lot of heat, and I'm not really sure why. Tony Mariani, I'm gonna put you on the spot because you don't really like J-Bo Meester that much, but you could say what you want. The guy logged minutes. He was out there for a lot of the hot moments, and he was there. I felt like there was never a point where I didn't feel comfortable with Jay Bomeister being out there. So I don't. I thought he was
I
great.
mean, you know what you're going to get, right? So
Right.
I didn't think for 1 minute that he was a bad defenseman.
No.
I just know that I'm not going to get any offense from him. And then when he gets the puck at the point, you weren't going to get a booming slap shot. He was going to wrist it in there lackadaisically and hope for a deflection, which that was the style of play that they chose.
Yeah.
They figured that out. They learned
It's
it.
not going to
So,
be McKinnis
adapted
out
to
there.
that,
If
though.
you're going into that thinking that's what you're going to get, that's not it.
Right.
But I think he's sound, and I think he was solid.
He got a bad
Big
rap
part
his
of
first few years here, but then I think the last 18 and 19, the way
He was an all-star, too, right before I think we got him, wasn't he?
I think so.
Yeah. I think we got him from Florida.
wherever.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we have Brian saying, doesn't NASCAR start up in like next week? Yeah, I heard there's like 7 races in 10
That's
days.
still a thing.
Really?
I don't know if that's what they proposed. I thought they were going to do that to try to get caught up on some things. It seems a little aggressive.
That's a lot.
But I'm for it once again. I mean, if they're going to get back in cars and do it, I'm just tired of hearing about the e-racing and all the controversy.
Yeah.
That's
So
all
much
fancy.
controversy.
Controversy.
I'm also tired of them teasing us all the time. We're gonna open up next weekend. Get ready. And then
Right.
it's like, well, yeah.
Wait a minute.
We're gonna have to put a hold
Yeah,
on
we're gonna have
that.
to
We'll
wait
try
for
it again
that.
in a couple
Yeah,
weekends.
it's not gonna
And then
happen.
they pump you up and then they let you down. And come on, let's just
Mike Grzeski actually chimed in and says, "Did you see the drones flying over with disinfectant spray demonstration and proposal for stadiums?" I did not see that, but I wouldn't.
Raining disinfectant.
I wouldn't
the
be
whole-
surprised
the
if
whole game.
drones. Why not? You can use the
mean-
technology that you have at hand, and if you have a drone that can help spray disinfectant in a large area,
You just hold
then
your
hell
hands up
yeah.
and it flies down and drips.
I don't know if it's necessarily like that. I think I'm talking about disinfecting it after people
Right.
leave and stuff like
I
that.
thought
Maybe
you
to
were
get it
just
ready
like-
for the next event.
Hand
I could be
sanitizer
wrong.
delivery drones is what I
Yeah,
thought
is that
you
what
meant
it's
to
gonna
your
be?
hands. That would be cool.
Gru, give us some news on that, man. Let us know. Do I get a drone that just literally just comes in right in my hand, and then I
That'd
can
be-
just
that would
Purell
be
right up
very
there? That
cool.
would be absolutely
Very cool.
fantastic.
Yeah.
We got Taylor Perkins saying, "Imagine Pareko with a Pronger mean streak."
That's what I've been saying.
man.
We've talked
I'll
about
tell
this.
you
That's
what.
actually my brother-in-law.
good
Love you, Taylor.
Good
what if he
question,
got-
Taylor.
I like
What
that.
if Pareko got like mean?
He wouldn't do it. It's not his style. I think he's gritty. I think
Don't
he can
you
get
like
gritty.
that though? Just a little, because sometimes I think people take advantage of him a little bit, and he's big enough to do something
He's a
about
big
it.
boy.
And Pronger was like that at the beginning, where he was kind of like, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it. And look how
you know-
nasty Pronger became.
But you know how my thoughts are on Pronger. I mean, he was the dirtiest, nastiest
was-
dude with a stick. He'd carve you up if you got within 4 feet of him. Or, I mean, 7 feet of him. I mean, he had a reach, so it didn't really matter. But when the NHL switched over,
Right.
that was when Pronger had to get out because it wasn't his style of play anymore. He was getting penalties, like multiple penalties every game because of the new hockey rules.
Right.
So I don't think that you see a Pareko playing like that because I think he's actually more of a disciplined player than Pronger ever
He
was.
is.
And I think that he knows when and when not to take his chances.
Yeah.
Because he's got legs. He's got hands.
Not take dumb penalties, but maybe even. Have you seen Pareko fight? I just like to see one to kind of see that mean
I've seen him get
streak.
gritty a little bit,
He'll
right?
get gritty. I think
Yeah.
it'll happen.
Yeah, it will.
Eventually.
We'll see it.
Someone's
It'll
gonna
come
push.
out.
He's
Yeah.
a nice Canadian boy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, you
Pronger's
know,
at a whole new level.
Yeah,
The hitting and
Mike
things.
Katrava says, "Man, he has the size. If he got aggressive, it could be awesome." I agree with you, but there's aggressive to a certain extent because being a big guy,
You have to
keep it to a limit because when you get over aggressive, especially with some of these smaller guys in the NHL, then you take those penalties, right?
Tara still gets
Right.
away with it,
I
but
would-
he is the biggest,
Yeah.
so I guess that's probably.
I would
why.
rather have a Pareko that focuses on things more like an Al McInnes of utilizing his booming shot at the point than ever getting more physical because
Right.
I like his stick lifting and his reach
Yeah.
capability, and he uses that to keep
Reaches.
his defensive capability intact. So to
Plus,
me,
the
you know,
game's different.
it is.
from Pronger's day.
But look at
you
our
can't do what you used to be able to.
Look at our defense, though. I mean, you have literally Vince Dunn, who's capable of scoring. You have Falk, who's capable of scoring. You have Petrangelo, who's capable of scoring. Now you have Pareko in that mix
Pareko?
as well, too, who is also capable. Scandella can do it if he needs to. You have
But he's not out there for
right.
that. We
He's
know
not out
that.
there for that, but we
Yeah.
like his physicality.
Yeah,
Right.
I love Bortuzzo.
Yeah,
He's the
Bortuzzo.
same
He's
type
an
of
energy
role.
type of guy.
He's a role guy, and Gunnarsson will have his moment, but he's kind of. I kind of feel like a Bowmeister, maybe younger. You know, he'll log minutes and things like that, but he's not going to go out there and score you a bunch of goals.
Yeah.
Boom, boom.
Yeah. Gru actually says it was on Channel 4 News. It was actually demonstrating that the drones would most likely clean before and after the games with the hand sanitizer.
I was
With
being,
the
I was being
sanitizer.
ridiculous.
I mean,
I like that
I
idea.
think it'd be
though.
weird if you weren't ridiculous. But thank you, Gru. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And other news as well too. I mean, we always touch base on baseball. We touch base on hockey. We'll do some football when there's football news as well too. But we don't do too much talk about basketball.
No, we don't.
Really don't. Like I noticed that. Like we need to have some more things other than the Michael Jordan special out about basketball. Like, have you guys even heard anything about when they're going to propose to open?
Well,
I
There
have
was
not.
something when there.
so last week I had heard that Mark Cuban came out and said that he basically thinks there's no chance that this is going to go on this year. And then shortly after that, I saw an article that says that they're working to get basketball back.
Yeah.
I can't, I can't.
I mean,
believe it.
now that the Michael Jordan thing's been on, I kind of want to see some basketball. You know?
I would say
You
I
get the
do
itch.
too.
I'm not gonna
Kind
lie.
It's put me back in the mood.
Yeah.
It really has.
Oh,
So-
here's a good question here. Actually, Matt Jake says, "What professional sport would you most likely catch the virus, or biggest concern of catching / spreading amongst teams?"
That's tough.
I mean, honestly, if I had to say something that was going to be the most dangerous sport to play, I mean, you think that you could always do some things with NHL, like make players wear a full face mask full face shield.
NBA,
right?
there's
Yeah, that's what I
They-
think.
NBA,
they have
there's a
the-
lot of touching.
Right.
I mean,
I think that
defense,
NBA
things
would
like that.
NBA that you all
More
touch the
hands-on.
ball. There's
Yeah.
no gloves.
They're all
so,
on the ball.
So I would probably shoot more towards maybe NBA as probably being the
Yeah.
most concern of spreading because you're not basically wearing any type of equipment to protect you from something, and everyone touches the ball.
Same way with baseball, though.
Everyone is
You're
wearing
throwing
like
that ball around. You're
shorts.
basically shaking hands with each other.
You're sweating on
You're
one another.
sweating.
So I think that would be an NBA play for sure. As far as that
NBA
goes.
would be number one for me, for sure.
Mike Katrava says, "What's the chances Petro comes back? I'd love to see it, and for the money Falk is getting, I was a little disappointed. I'll tell you this, Mike. My
lot of
thoughts
people
on
are-
this are like this. You haven't
Tough
seen
on
the
Falk.
true Falk yet.
No.
Nope.
And I
don't
think
so
people are
either.
being way too hard on him because it's just like a role player. If you have a guy on your team like Alex Petrangelo, who's not only your captain, but he's your main power play guy,
right.
he takes all the looks. So, yeah, you might get a look to play with Petrangelo on that line, but guess who's getting the looks on that? It's going to Petrangelo. So if we didn't have Petrangelo, I think you would see Falk most likely
Move.
put up Petrangelo numbers.
I
That's
think he
just a
would
guess
move
for
into
me.
that spot.
He
No,
might.
I think he would
might.
move into that spot. And I think everyone's hard on him right at the beginning.
He's
And
coming
well,
from a
yeah.
Carolina
Takes-
system he's been in for 8-9
Right.
years, or
Chemistry
however long he's been in his
doesn't
career.
happen
Like you just
overnight.
come to one team, you got to gel. It might take
Yeah.
a whole season.
Yeah,
it might.
Usually
and
does. Might take
I
2.
I'm not worried about it at all. I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
I think another year would probably
making
do
a nice
him
Keep in
good.
chunk of
mind,
change, but-
keep in mind he also is one of the highest point defensemen for power play points.
He's great on
Yeah,
the
he is.
I think he's in the top 5 of defensemen with power play points over the last.
You mean current
5 to-
players?
Yeah.
And
He was a power
and
play
to some
master in
people, he's
Carolina.
struggling. So just think of
Takes a minute. Let's
So
give him,
he'll-
I'll give him a
he'll
little
turn-
bit more of a chance.
Yeah, he'll turn it around.
We will. I'm not worried about that.
Taylor Perkins says Falk would shine if he was playing the role that Petro currently has. Yeah, thank you.
There you
hit it on
go.
the head, exactly what we were saying.
very good, Taylor.
We're on the same.
Brian Phelps says NBA did announce today that they are changing the official basketball from Spalding to Wilson
yeah.
like next season
I
or
saw
something like
that.
that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yep.
I wonder. I mean,
Dang. All right.
money talks in that sport. I
It
think.
does.
You know?
It
doubt.
definitely talks
Next
in
to
the NBA.
NFL, that's the
Yeah.
next sport.
Yeah.
Money talks the
Very
most.
much so.
and-
But Taylor, I agree with you, man. I think that you have options as a Blues fan, right? We have the rookie kid coming up. We talked about, right? What was his name? The rookie defenseman that won the Hobie Baker,
Perunovic.
Scott Perunovic.
There's Wallman down
Okay.
there too, who's
Right.
right on the cusp. Of
We've got
taking
talent.
it, apparently.
We've
We've got some talent when it comes to
youngsters. We always
defensemen that
do.
can score. And if you think that this Perunovic guy they're talking about might be like a Cale McCarr
Next coming
type
of-
guy, so that is why I think that the Blues, going back to also Mike's statement, I don't think that they're going to make a play on Petrangelo. If Petrangelo wants to come back for a reasonable amount of money,
He's gonna
maybe
have to work with us.
he is.
for sure.
I don't
gonna
think
have
that
to.
we're going to be able to throw anything more than that $6 million average at him. But then again, do you really want to spend that much money on a guy? I don't think you do. I don't think it's a play that we make.
Yeah, they talk about Toronto a lot with him, but I mean that's a rough situation.
It's his hometown.
That's his hometown.
Yeah,
So that's why they're saying, all right, yeah, well,
Right.
maybe he'll go here, right?
and maybe he'll make the money there, but
Do you want to
I don't
leave
know.
this for that right now?
it'll be about. To my guess, it would be about money if he does leave.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because there's no reason to leave this team. The chemistry's there.
Right.
You've got longevity. The young guys coming up are good. There's no real reason I would leave the Blues unless you're leaving for money.
right. And
I
I
don't
think
know why
that's
else
and
you
I
would.
think that's what our front end is trying to get around and saying is that hey, we're not going to do any more of these Steen contracts.
No.
We're not going to do any more of these contracts
Tie
where we
yourself
got
down.
stuck on.
Right.
So they know what value that Petrangelo has. I think that they've seen that he can produce, but I think now at this point they're going to throw some money at him to try to get him to stay because he's our captain. But if we
try.
can't work with him under the cap of what we're trying to spend, I think he's going to go, and I think our team is going to be fine for it.
I think so too.
Nice.
I'm not worried about it at all. I hope he stays and I hope he works with us. But if he thinks there's a better place to go, then that's on
It's
him.
still
Right.
a business, and
Yep.
the players always allude to that
Right.
that,
True.
that narrative. So
Yes, it
it is a business.
yeah.
You gotta understand that.
Jimmy Tracy says youth soccer said that goalkeepers can't touch the ball, so his daughter can't train properly because of it, and it sucks.
You got to wear face masks
terrible.
and basically
Yeah.
block it with your face,
Yeah.
and then sanitize your face when.
Brian Phelps says that in NFL news that today Stan Kroenke is asking the NFL for $3 billion more in funds
$3 billion
to finish their stadium.
Go fist yourself.
I
Get a
don't
new
know, man.
logo.
Those
Maybe.
jerseys. What is?
So we got some good stuff here, guys.
Trying to be a little
Real
too
quick,
progressive.
Micah Traub. We're going to come back to that statement in a second. But Tom Vore says, if 27 leaves, who takes over the C? Ryan O'Reilly.
Ryan
hands
O'Reilly,
down.
hands
O'Reilly.
down. Not even a thought.
I think Ryan O'Reilly hands down takes over the C. I don't think that you see any. I don't think that should be a surprise to anyone with what he's done with our
Take me
team. The
about
players
4
already
seconds
look
to make that
at him
decision.
like that as well.
I think we're
Yeah.
all
Right, we're all on
in
that same
agreement here.
page. Right.
And then Mike Meyer says, let's use him up for one more cup run if we can't keep him. I agree.
Yeah.
Well, how better to go off and say, sign me back for this much money than winning another cup.
I agree.
Mike Catrava says Thomas is going to be an absolute stud.
Absolute
Bad
He already
boy.
is, and I agree.
is.
He
I
already
really
is,
want to
yeah.
know where he's going to go. I do want to know where he's going to go, because if he goes and ends up having one of those like breakout years where he turns into this phenomenal sniper / speedy guy, I mean, Jack Eichel kind of comes to mind whenever you talk about someone with speed that's dynamic, but he's not known as like that sniper as Jack Eichel is.
No.
Right?
Well, we got a good team anyway, so he's kind of not that
Mixed
he's
in there.
kind of behind, but it's because we got
gets
Vlad and
buried
O'Reilly
right.
and Shan and those guys, but he'll make a name for himself.
Dude,
He'll
the way
get
he
there.
walks, those guys out there, this
The
just silky,
the
his toe
Kachuk,
drags. They love him.
yeah.
They love him. They say he's the king of St. Louis.
When we were at
so-
the All-Star Game suite for Honda, we had to be next to the Kachuk suite. So Walt's sitting there, and then all of a sudden Robert Thomas came down.
That's
he
awesome.
lived with them, didn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah. He was just watching the All-Star Game.
That's awesome.
They were on his
So-
float at the parade too.
Hey, how much longer is Ryan O'Reilly's contract? I know when we got him, he had like 5 or whatever on it, right? It was a big contract.
2 or 3?
We have maybe 2-3 years left on Ryan O'Reilly. Someone look that up
Love
for me.
him.
Fact check that for me if
Love
you don't
him.
mind. Also, we have Amar tuning in. What's up, OG Junior? Appreciate you for tuning in, man. I hope everything's going for you at Best Buy as well, man. So shout out to you for tuning in. Thanks a lot. Let's see what we got here.
Did you get to that?
So
Yeah.
Mike Bavette says, in reality, we want him so much based on his performance the last 3 years as a leader, along with his legacy from the time he got till now. The number one thing and only thing is that will determine the Petro stuff is salary cap crap. I agree. I mean, it's not that the Blues don't want him. It's not that you don't want to bring the guy back. It's that you have to
No.
understand what you're paying for.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to give you $100,000 for a Mustang. Okay. And that's the thing is, like, if I know what type of performance I'm going to get out of somebody, you don't overpay for them because of the fact that they brought you a Stanley Cup last year and they're your captain and then you're having a breakout year this year.
Right. And this goes back to Chicago. Look what they handcuffed their franchise with Seabrook and Crawford.
Jeremy Lath says Ryan O'Reilly is a Blue for 4 more years. So I guess this
There you go.
year and then 3 more. Thank
4
you,
more
Jeremy.
years. Yeah.
We appreciate that for
Free
sure.
agent 2023.
At $5 million a year.
Oh, Matt Jacobsmeyer says that he feels that least likely
Pretty
would be
shows.
baseball as they are spread out already. Worse would be
Pretty
NBA
spread
and
out.
football.
They're in that dugout though.
Yeah.
Yep,
Spitting,
they're all right next to
grabbing
each other.
crotch,
That's tough.
shooting
being-
seeds
yeah.
in people's faces.
That is
you know,
tough for sure.
Yeah.
Dirty sport too. But you're right. When they're on the field,
Right.
they are social distance. Where's that umpire? So the umpire, they're talking about doing the old electronic thing too. So there wouldn't be the closest player would be the catcher and the batter, I guess.
Yeah.
Another reason to get rid of the live ump. You can't
Yeah.
be within 6 feet. Sorry. Remember in Little League where they used to have the umps out at the pitcher's mound sometimes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Right behind.
Maybe,
Yeah.
we should go to that.
Are you sure that wasn't softball?
I think it was Little
The
League.
men's beer softball league? There
I
you-
thought that was just a catcher. He was behind the catcher, and
Is
then
that who it was?
he called all the outs from every position. Oh yeah, you're out.
That's hilarious.
I can see that. You're out.
I can see it. Yeah. No, guys. Hey, thank you so much with the comments and stuff.
Keep 'em
Anything, if
coming.
you have any more questions or anything else you
Keep
want us
'em
to talk
coming.
about, we love it. Keep it coming, and thank you so much for the support. Another thing that we haven't talked about as well, if you're not a part of the Nameless Shameless podcast group, please go ahead and add yourself in.
Join.
It's a public group.
Yeah.
We would love to have you. Everybody is welcome. We're actually approaching 700 members.
We're approaching
We've
700.
been actually getting a lot of
Yeah.
people adding on
Got,
day by day, so that's been nice.
close to 2,900 views for our last podcast.
Yeah,
so
that's
everything
crazy.
is
That's crazy.
Feeling good
29
about it. Very
2,900
positive.
views.
very good.
2,900
Very cool.
views just because, and we just are having fun talking about sports and trying to get you guys involved.
Having fun.
So if you guys are not or are new to the show or whatever, we want you guys to tune in and ask us questions so that way we can give you some feedback. Also, if it's something that you want to really, go into depth on, we can even have you guys call in. Just comment in the section on there, and I'll let you know how to make that possible.
Thank
So-
you, everybody.
So
Thank you.
there's something. Let's see what we got here real quick. Petro is not a $9 million per year player. He's a talented player and is deserving of the upcoming contract, but that would not be the smart play by the Blues. I agree with that,
Right.
Taylor. And let's see. Sean Lawrence says, stoked to tune in. My third show I've watched. I'm definitely here for the cards combos. Okay.
Yeah.
We're about to start talking some cards here in a second,
gonna
actually,
do
in
some
that
cards.
DH stuff, because I'm pretty passionate about that. And then Matt Jacobsmeyer says, does Petro go down as the greatest Blues captain of all time?
No, Eric Brewer.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I liked Garth Butcher.
Oh my gosh.
I'm grabbing the beer.
I'd say Matt that you could absolutely stand. You could argue that at any
He's up
time.
there.
He's a captain. He's got a Stanley
Captain
Cup.
of the Cup.
He was with us at our worst times, and he's with us at our best times. So that's why I would say that where he's at in his career, if he would understand that what we have going with us, if he wants to be a part of that, I would hope that he would maybe take a little bit less money to stay and allow us to spend the money elsewhere, so that way he can maybe add a second or third.
Like
cup
we
on
said, it's
to
a
that.
business ultimately, but I don't understand why these players don't just take a little bit less to make your team better, man. Always.
Here we go.
You've made a lot
Just
at this
win.
point.
Hey,
Just win
this
a
is
few
this
more
is great. Hey guys, once again,
Never
thanks for the
understand
questions. Jeremy Lath says, "Who is one Blues player number each of you guys would like to see the Blues retire?"
Oh, that's a good one.
Man, Blues player that I would like to see the Blues retire. They already retired Pavel Dimitra's number, right? Or did they not?
I believe so. There's a
I
ceremony.
don't think
for
they
that.
I think
did,
they
but
wrote
they
a
had
number. There's a
ceremony.
ceremony. Well, if that number's not retired, it's got to be.
I
I
would-
mean, Pavel Dimitra would be the first one. I believe that he would be the one that I would say.
Yeah, if that's
That's a tough one, man.
But I would say if to me, man, to go back and think of like some players that we should retire for being with us like through some rough times too, like, and Shane Corson,
he was here through some. Yeah,
he was here through some rough
tough
times.
stuff.
He was he was a captain, maybe. I mean, I don't know,
Ugh.
and that's tough too because I didn't have like an emotional attachment. But Tom Vore says I think 7 for Keith Kachuk. It's not a bad call.
That's a good call.
It's not a bad call.
It's not bad.
You got Joe Mullen too.
Yeah.
who was number 7. We had some good number 7s. So.
Yeah. Andrew
Nelson Emerson. I mean, come on now.
Andrew Vitale says that he has a Garth Butcher stick. That's awesome, man.
Love
Shout
Garth
out to
Butcher.
Garth was definitely a name that from back in the day that you love
It's
to
like
hear.
the best hockey name.
Mike
Garth
Chavez says
Butcher.
if
Love that.
Vladdy keeps going, 91 has
Yeah,
to be in the
sure.
future.
Absolutely.
I think
the
so. Now
future.
here's my one thing though. I'm a realist, right? Because I don't dislike Vladimir Tarasenko,
No.
but from what we're getting from him and the fact that he is our actual elite sniper, right? He's had some injury problems, and I think that will determine on his health for the remainder of his career. If he has another injury or has any problems with that, I think that's going to be the only thing that's going to get in the way of Vladdy getting his number potentially retired in our stands. But because of how heavy of a presence he is for us,
He's definitely.
I wouldn't be surprised if they would entertain the idea.
Yeah.
What you got, Mark?
I like Dimitra. No, I saw Mike put Roman Turek number 1. For
Pay
Ro-
attention,
That number
Roman
one,
shot
baby.
coming from the red
you
line.
know who that was?
Yeah,
Owen Nolan.
Owen Nolan.
You remember when he scored off him, and that was in Game
Sharks.
7
Yeah,
in the first round. That was the year we won the President's Trophy.
Oh,
yeah. When we had the early exit,
Mike
to-
Ricci.
roughest year.
We got
Boy,
swept.
he was beautiful.
We know we lost in 7, but
Lost
we
in
lost
7,
in the first
7.
round to the
First
Sharks.
round, we won the President's Trophy. That was
Roman
rough.
Turek.
That
That
still
was,
hurts.
that was rough. Jeremy Lath says number 38 is honored, not retired. So then
Correct.
that would
Right,
be
not
my
retired.
100%.
Definitely. It's gotta be
Pavel
retired.
Dimitra would be it.
I would consider Dimitra.
We've
I
got to
mean,
retire that.
Yeah.
I don't know who else. I think Dimitra would probably be my number 1.
I was at the game where they honored him too.
Honored
That
him.
was-
Nick actually says
that was
David Backus.
tough.
He was here for a long time.
Hometown hero. Just don't know if you'd retire to the
I
number.
almost feel bad.
You have to
like,
do some serious stuff to retire a number. Now, I think the fact that Pavel Dimitra, he passed not while playing for us, right?
No.
It was
No.
but
Tragic
still,
plane
but still.
accident.
I mean, I liked Pavel Dimitra.
Unexpected.
Slovakia, was it a world plane?
Yeah.
He was traveling to
Yeah,
go play
yeah.
over in
His
Slovakia.
team- yeah, he was coaching.
So-
Man, that's a
Slovakian
great
team.
question. Who would you retire next?
That would be my-
now
that'd be my
here's the
choice.
other thing, though.
38.
Jeremy Lath also says he thinks that the Blues are going to retire Bowmeister's number. I could see that. Guy won a Stanley Cup here. He was a great defenseman. Had that scary moment that everyone's going to remember.
Yep.
Right. We watched the guy die and then get brought
will
back to
probably
life.
End his career.
Right. And
You
yeah,
know,
he's
it's-
not coming back.
I love that story of Getzlav and the guys on the Ducks ripping the
you
bench
saw that.
off
yeah,
the
they
off-
like ripped the
just
screws
ripped
out.
it out so they could get in. It's like
Yeah.
That's crazy.
makes you,
They all
I'm
came
like a
together at
Ducks
that point.
fan just for the whole
Yeah.
situation and how they handle that.
I've
so.
never had a problem with Getzlaff.
No.
It was always like Corey Perry,
he's a
some of the other
little-
guys.
yeah,
on
But
the
rat.
that's
team.
Corey.
Getzlaff's always
That's
been a
Corey
great-
Perry's role. He wants you to
That's
hate
a
it.
rat.
That's
you
true.
know,
No, that's
Great
true.
player, but a rat.
So
That was such a scary moment, man. Those
yeah,
moments.
Tom Bohr was
after
saying that,
too.
Dimitra was playing for the KHL when that happened.
KHL,
That's right.
yeah.
Thank
Right.
you. I appreciate that.
Tragic plane accident. We lost a lot of. I believe we lost Igor Korolev too, former
Korolev.
Blue.
Igor Korolev.
Died in the same plane
Korolev
crash.
might have
I'm
been
pretty
there.
sure Igor Korolev,
Yeah.
an old legendary Blues name.
That's wild, man.
Oh,
So sad.
But yeah, I would say that Dimitra is definitely up there. Keith Kachuk, great call out on that
good call
one.
on Kachuk.
Good one. I like
Backus is a stretch for me. I think that obviously maybe if we go stagnant and don't win
that.
anything
Cujo's
else,
number's not retired.
maybe they'll go ahead and retire his number.
Cujo, do we not retire goalies?
I'd retire Cujo's number.
We have no
How
goalie
long
numbers
was Cujo
retired.
here? Cujo was here
Long. 5
or 6 years.
Oh, I wouldn't say longer than that. wouldn't he?
89,
Yeah, he
90
left
to
such a
95.
impression here, though, man.
You know who ran him out? 94. He
Keenan.
was 94, 95 was all we had Cujo to.
It was Keenan.
And he was a
ran him
rookie
out?
in 89.
Mike-
Shanahan and the rest of them as well.
yeah, ran them all.
Mike ran him out, and then he went and got Grant.
I think Cujo retiring Cujo's number would be a thing.
Cujo would be a good one. I think he's earned the respect
I mean,
because you don't have too many
he's
goalie.
loved here.
Oh well, that
people
he also
love
had the
Cujo.
most wins and whatnot. I think
Yeah.
Jake Allen passed him up recently because Jake Allen was playing with us when we were winning. We've been mediocre, right?
Brian
Sure.
Elliott was a good goalie here
He
for
was.
a long time.
Yeah,
Great
Moose.
tandems and stuff.
Yeah.
too.
Moose.
I like Cujo as a retirement. There's a great picture. Speaking about Garth Butcher and Curtis Joseph after the All-Star game, there's an awesome picture of Garth Butcher, Curtis Joseph, and Brett Hall climbing Brett Hall's statue out front
Oh,
of the
yeah, I've
out
seen
front of
that.
the
That's
stadium.
very cool.
All wasted, having a
Just
party.
wasted out
They're
of their
all
mind.
climbing up top of the whole of Brett Hall's statue, just having a good time, man.
That's
That reminded
awesome.
me of being a kid watching the Blues back in the day.
That's awesome.
So awesome.
Well, let me tell you this: there's some people that have been tuning in that have want us to talk about something specifically here.
Yeah.
Cool.
And the DH spot, you know how I feel about it. If you didn't get a chance to watch the episode, I'll tell you my feelings now. I'm not saying that I'm for one or the other strongly. I'm just saying we need to figure it out and even it on both
Make it
sides,
even.
right?
Sure.
So I'm a strong proponent of, hey, let's make this happen, but let's put a DH in both sides. Now, some people give you that question of saying, well, hey, what if I want my pitcher to hit because I've got a good hitting pitcher? I get that. That's what the DH is for.
Right.
So you can choose to still put your pitcher in the DH spot.
But how
okay?
many pitchers do you actually want to
Exactly.
hit in that spot?
We're talking a small
maybe
proportion.
5 or 6 guys.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
So
you might have one with Wayno. He's a
Dwayne
good hitter.
can hit. Mad Bum, he can hit.
Mad
No one-
Bum
you
can
don't- you
hit.
want- You want him to
Kershaw
take
can
all
hit
his
a little.
at-bats.
But let me ask you
Clayton
this, though.
Kershaw, you want them to all take their
besides Shohei Ohtani, okay, do you really think that you want that pitcher to bat instead of any one of your young and up and coming guys off your bench?
And then probably
No.
not.
Not at all,
No.
right?
No.
So, and I mean, I would even look at it and say, like, I would rather have Tyler O'Neill hit than a good hitting pitcher.
Than Wainwright.
If we had, let's say that we had Madison Bumgarner, right?
You'd still have
And we had
Tyler
O'Neill on the bench. I'm not a big fan of Tyler O'Neill. We've talked about this,
Right.
but I would rather have him in the box than a pitcher because a pitcher's main duty is to pitch.
And people say it takes a strategy out of the game, but if you walk the 8th place hitter because you know you're going to face,
Right.
whoever's batting, who
Two
can
on,
be hit.
two on. Eighth
Two
place
on.
hitter is going to get walked. 2
You
outs.
got runners at second and third,
for
or
the
you
pitcher.
intentionally walk that guy,
Oh,
bases loaded now, and then you strike the pitcher out
It's
on
the
3
most
pitches.
boring
It's like,
6 minutes in baseball. Like,
like-
let's just do away
you
with
just
that.
killed that.
Yeah.
There was no.
I get the
It's not
strategy.
strat-
I get
it's
the
strategy, but what are the chances of
get
getting
the
I just
move, but
every time that I
so
brought this up
boring.
before we had this shortened season thing going on where they're talking about making the universal DH, which I agree with.
Right.
Like everyone always had that kind of common complaint, right? They either said, "Hey, I don't think that the DH." They're either like, "American League has always had the DH, and we shouldn't switch because of this." And it's like, all right, well, cool. Then let the National League change. And then the National League people are like, "Well, there's actually pitchers that you would like to see hit," and then it changes. And it's like, cool. So you're not stopping those pitchers from hitting. You're still allowing your younger guys to get more at bats. So then now you might be able to bring a guy up and get him through your system a little bit faster.
Right.
Because the fact that now you don't have a pitcher taking however many
Right.
bats per game that can be taken by a young guy.
Right. My
right?
brother talked to me about this. He goes, think of the jobs that'll free up. You'll get more players up.
100%.
Yeah, sure.
Won't keep players down.
Players,
They'll actually get a
players
chance.
leave the National League to go to the American League for that
And we're
very
going to talk
reason.
about that in a second.
Yeah.
Really quickly, Taylor Perkins says the exaggerated shift in baseball and the 3-batter minimum for relief pitchers has eliminated the strategy game that the NL Baseball Universal DH will be great for the league. Nobody wants to watch a pitcher attempt to bunt and fail 99% of the time.
He's right. I
yeah,
mean,
no,
he
I
is
agree.
right.
So
Also, it says also this will open up contracts and opportunities for aging players in both leagues, and
Oh, yeah.
that is the biggest
Very
thing. I think.
big.
Absolutely.
I
Very
think my
good.
biggest complaint and my argument last time we talked about this is that David Ortiz was an American League player. Besides the fact that he started in the National League, but he was an American League player his entire career for a reason.
If
Right.
Albert knew this 10 years ago, would
Right.
he be a Cardinal still?
Right.
Right.
If
Or
this
even,
had- would-
or
if this would have
even
taken,
better
you know,
question: would you still want him playing for your team as a DH?
Probably.
Yeah.
DH. Right.
Absolutely.
Probably.
So
I'll take
still
him.
to this day, for what money that you would have most likely had to have given up for him to stay with our team, would that
Just to
means
hit
we most
dongs.
likely would not have had Goldschmidt and other players? I don't think that I would have wanted him here as a DH. I don't think.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, but history went one way.
Yeah.
If history, you can't really argue
It's
that.
so hard to actually say whether that would have worked out or it wouldn't have.
You really never know.
You
So,
never know.
Yeah,
Could've
Mike
not,
Mike
could've.
Catrava says, "Man, I'm not against the DH, but I feel like we are losing something. I can't put my finger on it, but it feels weird." Is that or what you're saying is that it would feel weird if we had the DH in the National League? Like you feel like we're losing something?
It's going to take a
Because
minute to catch
gonna
for
take-
us to catch up to the National League because the American League is like set up for the DH. The National
I
League
mean-
hasn't been ever.
But think about what you're saying though. Every single team, besides some National League teams that don't have the depth, have a guy that's on their team that is an up and coming guy that is on the bench that only gets so many looks per year because of the fact that they don't have a DH spot.
Right.
So if you want to see that guy, like let's say if Carson Kelly was going to be that up and coming guy, right? If we had a DH spot and then Yachty was having injury problems and we could have him on the roster to play him and use his bat because he had a decent bat too apparently when that happened, right? But we never got to see that pan out. Why? Because you have Yachty who's Mr. Faithful and is not going to get hurt, and he just didn't get to see
So if
the
he
looks,
fills that
right?
DH spot, then we may still have him.
So now he's not catching, but he's still in the back, and we may have a prospect to back up Yachty still instead of trading him because of the case, right? So I think that that's an important thing, to think about as well too. So we've got Tom Vore says no pitchers are meant to pitch, not to hit. What happens if that pitcher gets hit on the wrist and breaks his wrist?
Yeah, that's annoying,
Sometimes
too.
it's a
That
$20 million
happens.
mistake.
That's annoying too.
Or
You're
a
right.
10,
Let's-
$12
let's-
million
Let
mistake.
these pitchers focus on pitching and let these DH focus on hitting, and let's bring it. Let's bring it. Let's
Yeah.
even it out. Let's
Yeah.
have it both leagues. I don't think there's anything wrong with
Yeah, Taylor Perkins says also I don't want to see Flaherty at the plate and get hit in the hand, resulting in a long-term stint on the
Same
injured
comment.
list. And
It
that's
happens
I think
often, too.
I think that's the common consensus, right?
For sure.
It's you place that out there of saying, hey, we may have a problem if a pitcher gets hit or if he's trying to run out a little bunt single or something and he pulls a muscle. Like, yeah, let's let the pitchers pitch and let's let the hitters hit. I really think like if you go into it deep, right? Think about some of these teams that could have kept some players, right? Now, I don't know about you guys that are out there, a huge Cardinal fan, right? I'm sure that most of you are because a lot of these people in the group are mostly Midwest based. But I was a huge fan of Jose Martinez, right?
Yeah.
Huge fan of Jose Martinez. Now, Jose Martinez didn't come with a large price tag, okay? But he raked. He absolutely raked whenever he was in and whenever he was
Great
batting.
hitter.
He was a great hitter.
We ultimately got out of him because we have a log jam in the outfield,
And we have a
There's
log jam
really
in the
nowhere
outfield.
to play him.
So once
But
again,
now the DH comes into play.
if the DH comes into
Why
play,
did we get
we
rid of
still
Jose
have Jose
Martinez?
Martinez now as a possibility to take that DH spot every single day.
And a
Love that.
consistent, a guy that was always a threat.
Right.
Was
Well, he
Jose
gone.
Martinez.
But
Bummer.
because this wasn't in place before last year,
Yeah.
There
we
wasn't a
traded
place
him
for him.
off for
Right.
obviously we got a prospect for him, a good prospect.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. But I liked Jose Martinez. He was a character guy. He's an emotional guy. He was a guy that was going to get you a hit in a key moment.
Yeah.
And he hit some awesome home runs, just solo shots to get us energized and get going, man.
there's
That
a
was
lot of
one guy
energy.
that I feel like we should have of maybe kept. But he was really trying to improve in the outfield. But like you said, log jam in the outfield.
many outfielders.
Nothing you could do about it.
Right.
And if,
if
like-
you're not fielding as well,
yeah.
I mean, he can hit,
Yeah.
which I like seeing him out
He
there,
had
but
some
man,
defensive problems.
yeah,
What
yeah,
about like Eric Thames, right?
yeah.
Big monster dude. He's
Had a
not
great
bad in the
DH.
field, right? But
Yeah.
he was a better. He would have been a better guy to focus on just hitting. Okay.
This is
Miguel
gonna
Miguel,
change a
Miguel
lot of
Cabrera
stuff.
plays for the Detroit,
Yeah.
right? They have the designated hitter out there, right? So why are people like Miguel Cabrera still on that team to this day? because they have the designated hitter spot. He doesn't play first base very often, guys.
Never come back to
And we're talking about almost a batting champion multiple year over year who's now like taking second string to some rookies and whatnot. He's at the end of his career.
Were you not disappointed with Ozuna in the outfield? I was
So-
I thought he was so much better than that.
So I was,
I
and
knew
I
his
think,
arm was bad.
I think
but
that his arm was terrible, and then he had the shoulder thing that he was talking about
Yeah.
that might have had some issues with it. But here's another guy that I wrote down as another potential Cardinal DH. Think about that. If you didn't have to worry about having, let's say that even in the
That would've been
playoff
great
run,
for him.
Like let's say in the playoffs this past year, right? Let's
Yeah.
say that we had a DH spot, and instead of us having to worry about Ozuna in the outfield, which I was worried about him like 20% of the time, right? He wasn't a Matt Holliday.
I think I expected more.
Right.
That was the problem.
Yeah.
He was a Gold Glover in
He was.
Miami.
He was.
So I mean, you kind of have that, and then the arm was
Platoon, more room in Miami, bigger stadium, I think, right?
Yeah.
So if you
That
have a guy
arm-
that's nervous at walls, and then you have a lot of balls that are hitting maybe normally 5 to 10 feet in front of the wall,
you got full
probably gonna be a-
stands
you're
in
going to be
St. Louis. You got no one to worry about.
You're gonna be a Gold Glover, right.
In Miami.
So if that's the comment that you meant when you mean we think we're missing out on something, like let's make a decision because we're getting rid of all our DHs as the years go on. I
Right,
mean,
you know,
gosh damn, we had
This could be a
we
new
were
thing.
set
and
up a
and
couple
we
years
let,
ago.
We let a couple guys go that we
So-
could have
Right.
as DHs.
Let me
So-
throw out
make a decision
these are
here,
these are
MLB.
the so we've already talked about two of them, well three of them actually. Jose Martinez was my big one because he was a cheap DH guy who could rake.
Yeah.
Right. You have Marcelo Zuna who could have been a great DH.
Yep.
Albert Pujols who was probably going to be the most expensive DH player of all
Probably.
time, and then you have a Matt Holliday who towards the latter part of his career could still hit the ball.
Yeah.
He was
Went
a
to the
he was
Yankees,
a
right?
problem
To
in
DH.
the outfield.
in the outfield.
So that's my problem with it is that we could not retain certain players because of the fact that we're a National League team.
Very much so.
They had to go
Yeah.
to the DH spot in the American League, otherwise they wouldn't even be playing in baseball anymore, right?
No, you're right.
So let's
I'm
see what
with
else. Let's see what we got here in the chat real quick. We've got
Ozuna's arm was so bad. Yeah.
I'd love to have Tommy Pham back for DH. I mean, hell of a player,
Another
man.
player we let go.
He
Guy
could just
that can-
keep his mouth shut and play.
Yeah. Did
was
you
a
hear what he
great
said?
player. Outspoken.
You heard what he said
Yeah.
after he left, right? He was like, "Oh, the St. Louis didn't give me the chance and stuff." And it's like,
I wouldn't necessarily.
Tommy, we gave you your eyes back, buddy. We found out that you needed different contacts, and then you started hitting properly.
Right.
So we helped you out to a certain extent. Like, don't shit where you sleep is what
Right.
I say. You know, that was
I
kind
liked
of a
him here too. So,
Yeah.
but I think the mouth got a little. He was pretty cocky.
yeah.
And I don't know if he had the
Still
means.
is.
Hey, we got here. Taylor Perkins says, "Can we all agree that the Bader train has left the stadium? His anemic batting average has overshadowed by any defensive upside." I agree. His defensive upside is what they're saying that is the most that he
He's
has.
flashy. He looks good
Man,
out there.
There are
Well, they like his hair. Right?
zooming.
I'm not into it.
I
I'm
love
not
that he's
a-
fast and things like that because I am like, as much as I don't look like I'm someone for speed.
yeah.
I love, Kenny Lofton, Ricky Henderson, Devon White. I was a big fan of speed. So thinking he could steal bases, but if you can't hit a curveball and you can't get on base, then it doesn't matter if you're fast.
He's a young guy too. What is he? 16, 15?
Who?
Bader.
Bader?
Yeah.
Looks like he's.
Mike
about
says
14.
his offense is bad, but for late game defense, he is nasty, and I can agree
He
with
is.
that.
He makes big plays.
He can
plays.
platoon and he
He's
can
got
play
the
out in
vision
the
for
center
that ball.
field for a while. I mean, he's got speed and he's made some good catches. Just depends on how focused that he is.
Right. And
So-
if you can't hit a breaking ball, you're going to be in trouble.
You're in the majors.
You're in the majors.
figure
They're
that
going to
out.
they're going to stop throwing you fastballs, and I feel like that's where it's at. Same way with the guy you're talking about, Tyler O'Neill.
Yeah,
The power's there, but
it's just
you're going to have to adapt to breaking balls,
Yeah.
change ups, and
Welcome to
I
the
don't
big
think.
leagues.
Figuring that out.
Welcome
quick.
to the big
They'll figure
leagues.
you out
Yeah,
quick.
you're not going to stay if you can't figure it out. That's
Yeah.
as simple as it is, really.
And then let's see what we got here. Replying to Taylor Perkins says, Michael Traub, I can almost agree there, but Lance Thomas right now is the better option. Or Lane Thomas.
Thomas.
Sorry. Lane Thomas is definitely a guy I'm interested in seeing.
Another youngster.
I think he's going to turn out to be really
Excited
good.
about Don Carlson too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very excited. About
We've got some people to definitely keep an eye on.
and
We got-
Libertor, the
Yeah.
pitcher.
That
pitcher
shows-
is gonna be good.
He throws some nasty stuff.
lefty, right?
Yeah.
I
Liberatore?
believe so.
I think so.
believe
He
so.
Hard
hasn't had,
throwing.
Like a really good
Hard
throwing
throwing.
lefty.
He could be a
in
game
long
changer.
time.
I really
Sean
like that dude.
Sean Loren says, or Lauren says, Pham hated on our organization and then immediately hated going to the Rays, not playing in front of fans.
One of those guys you can't really make happy.
You really can't.
That's
You
okay.
know?
Yeah.
Well,
Actually,
he
I-
produces, and you just got to deal with his mouth. And the Rays
Right.
will do that.
Yeah, I mean,
They're
the Rays are
notorious.
just
They'll
going
deal
to roll
with
with whatever. As long
I mean,
as they
if,
can,
if they can win and they can be competitive,
that's all they're hoping for.
yeah. I mean, hopefully their best pitcher comes back.
This
out,
goes
right?
back to winning.
Right.
It's not acceptable to not win in St. Louis. You know, all these people complain like, "Oh, you guys didn't go far in the playoffs. You're mad." Well, that's because we win.
Right.
When you're used to winning, and the fan base is used to winning, losing isn't an option.
It's true.
And that's what it has become for the Cardinals. You've got to compete every year. You got to be in the playoffs every year.
Yeah.
It's just what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taylor Perkins says that O'Neill needs 500 plate appearances to really see what he is, and I agree with that.
That would help.
I mean,
A
it would.
steady dose.
And that's what we get into with his DH spot, right?
That would be good. This could be good for him.
Throw out there for me, guys. Anybody in the chat right now, let me know who you think is a player that could have been in a DH spot in the National League, or maybe a National League guy that went over to the American League because of the fact that he couldn't do the field anymore, right? So I know that there's some other players out there, but like Adam Dunn?
Prince Fielder.
Prince Fielder, actually, fun fact on him, I think he's actually the highest paid player in the major leagues this year.
He is getting $24 million.
Yes, and that is
He's
because
been
of the
retired
fact
for
that
2 years now.
He's been retired for 2
Neck-
years, and he's
neck
getting
injury in
Yeah.
2016.
That is a contract that that
With
GM
what's
is
going on, he's going to be the
paying the
highest
price for
paid.
today.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
Oh,
yeah. What do we got here? We've got Katrava says, "Man, Carlson could really be something special."
he could be.
Yeah. And then we also have Andrew Vitale saying, "I want to see Edmund play again this year." I do too. I like Edmund a lot.
Tommy Edman?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think his switch hitting capability, his leadoff kind of aspect. I think if the Cardinals get
runs
away
every
from
ball out hard.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the Cardinal way.
yeah,
He is the
If-
Cardinal way.
Here's the thing I got to say. You have Tommy Edmund, who could potentially be like more of our truest leadoff hitter that we have. Correct? You guys agree
Yeah.
with me on that?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
But then you have that Matt Carpenter anomaly where he's like, "I'm a leadoff hitter." It's like, no, you're not, Matt. You can't even hit
think
the
we're
ball
over
at the
that.
opposite field. Okay, you can't have a leadoff hitter who doesn't know how to hit the ball to every part of the field.
That's tough.
That's a norm. That's a baseball thing. Okay, so if you're going to get a defensive, switch on you, which I think, are they taking that out this year or something? Are they going to do that to try to help speed up or change some
I mean,
things too?
it would probably be good.
I've
but
heard them talking about making rules to kind of combat against the defensive switch, as far as taking those heavy lefties out that just pull the ball. I would love to see that. However, then again, on the other hand, I think these guys are professional athletes.
Adjust.
You've
Sure.
literally been
You're
playing
getting paid a lot of
baseball
money. Adjust to.
this
No
long,
oppo.
and
Right.
you
No,
need
they learned to do that too. A lot of people are figuring that
Watch.
out. They're beating the
Go
shifts
watch
left and
Tony
right now.
Gwynn
Like, they're figuring
bat.
it.
One of
Watch
the-
training
one-
videos of
one
Tony
the-
Gwynn, how he did it.
One of the greatest, if not
Probably the greatest hitter I've ever
Hitter
seen in
of all
my
time.
lifetime.
I know my buddy Josh Stover's a huge fan of him as well
Oh,
too. I want to
love
say
Tony
Tony
Gwynn.
Gwynn. Tony Gwynn is probably the best hitter of all time.
Yeah, my dad would be like, "You want to learn you want to watch how to hit? You should watch Tony Gwynn.
Yeah.
That's who you should hit like." I mean, that's
It's a good
that's
model.
what he was.
The best
Yeah.
model, probably.
Yeah, we got Mike
So
Chavez
good.
that says a dark horse that no one's really talking about is Kim, right? He rung up the Heart of the Twins lineup one of the last games in spring training. Who is that? The Kung Hong Quinn?
Oh, yeah.
the
Yeah.
Japanese
Sean Jung
pitcher.
I forgot
Sean
about
Jung
him.
Kim or whatever his
Yeah.
name is. I'm
I'm
terrible with their names. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it,
He
but
was
yeah,
throwing some gas. So
he was. Yeah, we have some upside with
training.
him.
Yeah.
We have some upside with him. I'm kind of excited to see that. Which
Goldschmidt took him deep in spring training, like his first bat.
Yeah.
his first at bat.
but dude, let's be honest here.
broke
That'll get in your head.
Yeah.
And I'll throw this out there. This is a bold statement, but I'm going to tell you guys right now that Goldschmidt's going to be one of the greatest Cardinals that we get to
think
watch
so,
in
too.
the jersey.
I always
And
liked him.
people were really rough on him last year. You know, if people were rough on him, saying like, "Oh, got off to a
slow.
slow start," but then he ended up providing us however many home runs, and that was a down year for
He
him.
was still like around 100 runs batted in, 25, 30 home runs.
Let's
That's
say that he gets comfortable here and see what he does.
just wait.
Right? Or if you
Yeah.
put a team around him like he had whenever he was doing his best in like his rookie year. I mean, they had
I loved Goldschmidt from the beginning.
Yeah,
in Arizona.
me too.
When I found out we got him, I was ready.
pumped.
I'm
Yeah.
great
Former
first baseman
MVP,
too.
man.
I had to look at a
Former
couple
MVP.
friends of mine that weren't really big baseball guys and said, "Hey, like you guys don't understand how big of a
And
deal
a
this
good
is."
dude. And
Yeah.
you know, just a
He's
great
that good.
overall player, man.
He's
Love
that
having
good.
him.
Let's see what we got here. We've got Katrava says, honestly, Votto would make a great DH.
Love
He
Joey
would.
Votto.
He would.
Yeah,
Always
that's
have.
Good thing
And-
Reds hang on to him.
And Sean Lorenz says, and let's give up on the salsa this year. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Nice, Sean.
I
Worked
say
for a
that
minute.
if you're a professional manager, do you tell Matt Carpenter that he will not hit in the leadoff spot until he learns how to hit the ball at the other side of the field?
I feel like he's kind of getting it at this point. I think he's working on his mechanics. He's changing a lot of stuff from what I hear. He's changed a lot of stuff from last year to
He
this
was
year.
Here's
working
the thing.
hard.
I think
to
he's
get it
hearing the
back.
criticism, and he probably doesn't want to lose that position. He wants to
Yeah.
work some stuff out so he can keep it, but
Yeah.
you're losing slowly losing that grip.
No, I hear you, but there's so many different dynamics as well too that we have that like comes to the Cardinal team, which we have even saying Taylor saying Goldie has no protection in the lineup. Like it's kind of true, man, and it sucks.
Is,
but
in a way,
right now with having no Ozuna, Arenado would be the greatest thing that could absolutely do that.
That could be the jelly bean I had, but I'm going Arenado with that. That would be
Arenado.
I don't think that's completely out of the realm.
I love that it's still in the ether.
Yeah, Eric, my brother Eric says, what about the players refusing to play at a reduced rate this year? Article about that. Blake Snell. Yeah, he's scared to come back. There's players that are like that. You're going to have that, you know? Yeah. So what does that do? Does that mean that like players are like, nope, I'm not coming back, and they're like, well, we're starting back up, and they're like, all right, well then there's like contract like cancellations, and people are going to become unrestricted free agents because they refuse to come back due to COVID.
You know what happened if I didn't go back to my job?
You get
fired. I don't have a job.
Right.
Same. It's real simple.
So it's real simple. I think they're under contract, right? They should have. I know that they're
not
proposing
at work.
Ideas,
you don't have a job.
Let's talk about taking a slice of humble pie, though. I mean, if you're a professional athlete and you can take less money for a shortened season just to make it happen,
and let's be honest, they've already talked. They're putting everything in place to keep you safe too, man.
Right.
Like they're trying everything they can.
They're doing everything they can.
You're blatantly not doing it because of money.
Yeah,
that's
what the vibe I get.
Yeah, it seems like.
We've got basically Andrew Vitale says who's going to protect Goldie and bat fourth, and then my brother says Nolan Arenado will eventually be a Cardinal. I think that he will too. I think with all this, it's done nothing but allow us to actually have more conversations about what it's going to take to get him into a Cardinal uniform.
That'll be an exciting
him and Goldie
podcast.
are friends. Let me ask you this though.
Bring it back, baby. Let's bring back baseball.
So we're gonna talk this real quick. If we bring Nolan Arenado over to the Cardinals, is he the best third baseman to ever play in the Cardinals jersey? Because we had Scott Rowland at one time.
Scott Rowland was my type of guy.
You can't forget about Scotty Rowe.
Scott Rowland was a good third baseman.
Like
Maybe
Troy Gloss. Yeah, right.
Scott Rowland defensively.
The only thing you like Troy Gloss doing was making that tag on Rick Ankiel's bullet.
Where he couldn't even believe he got the ball. And was like, I got him.
Yeah.
He looked real good.
Got it.
Yeah.
But there's definitely potential of that, no doubt. You know, depending on what he does when he comes here. But you know, for now, it's still Scotty baseball, right?
Yeah. Sean Lawrence agrees with Eric and says he thinks that Arenado will be a Cardinal. I can only imagine it would. Our name keeps coming up with being tied to that.
Stop.
And for a guy that has an opt-out clause at the end of this year, if this is a shortened year, then okay, cool. Thank you, Colorado. I'm going to opt out of my clause.
Obviously not happy there.
I already feel like I'm seeing it already.
Yeah.
Like I'm putting him in the Cardinal jersey.
If it wasn't for COVID, he may be here already.
He could be here.
True. It's true.
I'm all for it.
Damn,
Let's get him. Let's get Nolan.
Yeah, Mike Catraba says nope. Scott Rowland was the man. Yeah,
Scott
he really
so
was,
good.
man. He really was.
And a good hitter.
Rowland was good. Great hitter, great defensive third base. No one played the corner better than him.
No.
And that range. I mean, that dude had a bullet.
You know what I loved? Not a word. Never said a word.
Professional.
He just played. He was
sure.
like what you wanted.
Was it just me or he looked like he was like the man child of Haley Joel Osment? Did
If he
anybody
were
else
like
get
a
that?
man,
You ever seen
yeah.
Artificial Intelligence or whatever that was with like the little kid that fared? Like he just had that Haley Joel Osment like face. I don't know what it was.
And he was a good. I mean, he was a 275, 280 hitter. So it's not like he wasn't. I mean, he was a good hitter too.
Yeah.
Rolling.
Yeah, I agree.
That 04 team.
Yeah.
That was a good team.
Hey, here, this is a good one here. Bold predictions here. Sean Lawrence
Love
says,
them.
bold predictions. When will we see our next World Series ring? If we get Arenado within the next 5 years.
When will the Cardinals see their next?
I'm just throwing that
Series?
out there. I say
can agree
if
with
we make a move and get Nolan Arenado, then when we have him on our team, it'll be a 5-year process.
Hopefully
I think.
we get Arenado next year. Yachty retires in 2 years. We win the World Series again in 2 years.
Yachty
goes out on
wins
top.
his last year.
Yeah, that'd be
Doesn't
awesome.
sound
I think he
more
almost did have to
storybook
write
than
it
that.
like that.
That's a bold prediction.
Yachty wins the last year. That would
Go
be
with
cool.
that.
So let me ask you this though. We know we I mean I'm not a big fan of it, but obviously we watched Boston go on that absolutely tear of a World Series run where like David Ortiz just hit like 666 throughout the entire playoffs, right?
Yeah.
The players like that you can't even imagine. It's not even fathomable thinking about them playing for like a different team than Boston, right? So let me ask you, and for anybody else that's out here as well too, who is a guy, American League or National League, that you would want to be in your home team uniform as your designated hitter if it comes to the National League? Who would you want to
From
fill
the
that
American
their shoes?
League,
Yeah.
or just in
It could be
general?
anybody. Let's say that there's
Of
a guy,
all time?
They don't have to, not necessarily of all time. Let's say active players.
active players.
Let's say if there's an active player currently, maybe towards the latter part of their career, that you think that
Yeah.
we would be able to pick up. Who do you think would be a good Cardinal DH spot filler?
I know who I would like,
Who you got?
and I'm going to take. He might only have a year left, maybe 2, but Nelson Cruz
Ooh,
still
That guy's
hits jacks.
Always been able to hit for power.
Still
I thought
hitting
you were going to
jacks.
say Edwin.
That's not a bad idea.
He still hits
either.
jacks for sure.
Yeah.
I
There's a
like
lot of power
Nelson
there.
Cruz. Edwin Encarnacion.
Nelson Cruz.
He's bad too.
He's-
bad
Yeah,
boy,
we
too.
got Taylor Perkins says, yeah, Encarnacion.
Nelson Cruz
Yeah,
is a
yeah,
good.
that's a good one.
He always kind of bounces around, and I always think
hits
the
bombs
Cardinals are
everywhere.
going to make a move and get him for the bench as some power.
Yeah.
They never do it. Someone always gets him.
Well, he stays
But-
in the American League.
Hey,
He
here's
can hit.
here's a good call out here. Taylor Perkins says, "Why would you extend Goldie if you aren't all in? We need Nolan, and it's truly complete. To truly compete during this window with Goldie." And I agree. It's a time thing right now. It's not going to make sense if you get Nolan Arenado with like a year or 2 left on Goldie, and then you can't get some cohesiveness between the players there. So it would be nice to get him like within the next year or so.
The
And
worst
keep them
part
locked
is, I think about this. The DH is the Cubs will make Nick or Schwarber
Schwarber,
a
the
DH. He's a terrible outfielder,
That's fine,
and you're not going to take Anthony Rizzo's spot.
right?
But to put Schwarber, it's really going to help the Cubs to have a DH like Nick Schwarber.
It is, but you know what the problem I think is with the Cubs is that they are so structurally unsound. And what
Yeah.
I mean by that is that they still don't have Contreras locked in, right?
Yeah.
Right, or isn't that their catcher? Or-
Yeah,
uh,
Contreras.
And then they have that other guy too that's phenomenal. That
Javier Baez.
Javier Baez
Baez.
too. So
Brian's coming up on some contract.
right,
talk,
Brian.
too.
Now I
They're
heard
talking about
Brian
getting him
and Rizzo
out of there.
were having some issues with the Cubs, and their contract talks weren't going good.
Yeah.
Let's say throw this out there? Would you guys, be open to having a Chris Bryant play third base for the St. Louis Cardinals instead of a Nolan Arenado?
No.
I don't. I mean, trust me.
Not
I
that
want
he's
Nolan.
not good.
I want
Instead of
Nolan
Arenado, I'd
that
say
bad.
no. Also.
Nah.
Right.
Arenado defensively to me is maybe one of the best players at third base.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
talk about
Last-
Rollins' range, but I've seen Arenado make some
He's-
throws
man,
from his
he's
ass.
so good.
deep
Yeah.
into foul territory.
He's so
on
good.
the
I really
fly
want
to first.
Arenado. I'd love to see him
Eric
here.
Eric Middendorf says Cruz is like 50 though. Nelson
Still
Cruz is
doesn't
old.
matter.
Still a home run hitter.
Yeah,
No,
he
Manny
rolls.
Ramirez
Great-
making a comeback.
a DH
He's
role.
40. He says yeah, in the Korean
Nelson-
League, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nelson
Manny's
Cruz
coming
is
back in the
built
Korean
for
League.
He can hit
DH.
jacks. He doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike Catrava says Goldie, Wong, Arenado. That defensive is the best infield in the game. If Wong keeps hitting like he did, then he could lead off.
And
I'm not opposed to that. I just don't see. I don't think if you have the capability with a guy like Tommy Edman, who's a switch hitter,
Yeah.
I think you have to put him in the leadoff spot because it makes it more versatile.
I think so too.
I think that Wong would be a good 2
Yeah.
guy, right? If he's hitting well,
Yeah.
and then you end up
Wong in
having
the
a
2-hole.
Nolan or a Goldschmidt and Arenado in that 3-4 spot.
And
I mean-
Dennis DeYoung. DeYoung.
Oh yeah,
That's
Paul
fantastic.
DeYoung. I mean,
Paul DeYoung.
he's up there in the mix too.
And
A
he's
guy
a
that's going to hit you
good-
25, 30 home runs a
He's
year.
a good shortstop. He's not real flashy, but he makes the plays he's
He's
supposed to
consistent.
make.
He's
He
consistent.
makes the plays he's got to
Yeah.
make. So
No, I agree.
that's what I always said about Johnny Peralta. He didn't really make errors. He wasn't going to make a big play.
I like
but he
Johnny
was gonna
Peralta on
make
our
the
team.
plays he needed to make.
Yeah.
That was about it.
Yeah, you have Taylor saying that the Cubs have come and gone. They play for the names on the back, not the logo on the front. I think that was well put.
Might be what's going on there.
That was
They
well
had their
put.
year.
But Nick Schwarber will help out if you can get him
Kyle
out of the
Schwarber.
outfield.
Kyle Schwarber,
Kyle Schwarber, yeah,
big boy.
you'll move
As
him.
a DH, though, you're right. Like,
Yeah.
they're set up for the DH spot if that becomes a reality.
But I mean, I'm not worried about it. You know,
I'm not-
honestly, like if you look at it, and
Everyone
I'm
will
not going to lie
survive.
to you. For
Yeah,
us,
we'll
I mean, don't
figure
get me
it out.
wrong. The Cardinals, we didn't really add that much of anything. We lost, right? We lost Ozuna,
Sure.
so we lost that punch.
And Martinez.
And Martinez but we ended up getting back a pitching prospect for him. Then we get Liberatore,
Liberatore came back
right?
from Tampa.
So
Bay, I
there's
believe.
positive things that come from people leaving because we did the process right. We didn't let them go for nothing,
Right.
right? So as far as the Cardinals go, like Sean Lawrence says, third base is boring. It's a hot corner, man. I'm just saying.
It's a hot corner.
General consensus here is, hey DeWitt, hey Mosaic, let's bring Nolan Arenado
Arenado,
here.
bring Arenado. Get him
Fans
already.
want it. Come on,
Yeah.
man.
Let's make it happen.
Know
Let's
what
make
to
it
do.
happen.
I'm a
Let's
big
do it.
fan of Vogelbach. Do you know who that is on
Yeah.
Seattle?
I do.
He was
He's a-
actually
he's a
drafted.
bopper,
I think
too.
he was out of the Cubs system, but
Really?
at the DH.
He's a big bopper too.
He's a
man.
big
He's
bopper.
awesome.
He hit some
Like,
big home
shit.
runs in Seattle.
Now, I mean, we had some players like at the end towards the end, Larry Walker.
Yep.
Troy Glaus, who was good in
Troy.
Toronto, who was terrible
Yep.
for us. But I still haven't seen it. Can anyone think of a true National League hitter that should have been a DH guy?
A
National League
till
hitter
the
that
end, till
should
the
have-
end of his career.
Because he wasn't really flashy and whatever in the field, but
I mean,
Well, here's a good guy who was a good guy who played a lot.
How about
Basically, was split in half from National and
Jose
American League,
Canseco?
and it was Jim Thome.
how about
Jim
Jose
Thome.
Canseco?
Jim Thome played about the same amount in each league, I think.
Jim Thome wasn't
was-
even
was
a
a full
bad first
American
baseman.
leaguer.
He was just kind of
No.
he wasn't real mobile off first
Not
base.
mobile,
No.
but damn, he was.
600 home runs, I believe, for
Lasted.
old Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah, Taylor says that DeYoung actually had the highest defensive runs saved percentage last season at shortstop. That's awesome. Yeah,
Wow.
no, he has been getting progressively
He's-
better and better.
he's
And
just
for a
steady.
guy,
He had a great
That's
offensive
middle infield?
start. Too,
Yeah.
but
Could you
kinda fell
imagine?
off for sure?
Arenado, DeYoung, Wong, and Goldschmidt.
Be bad.
It'd be huge. We're
Now I'm gonna throw this out there to get some more comments going as well too. I'm not opposed to a Dexter Fowler, guys. I'm not opposed to a Matt Carpenter. You have to be open to these guys. We've seen that they have the capability of doing things.
yeah.
It just is what kind of are they going to be in their head? Are they going to be your Matt Carpenter and your Dexter Fowler lower in the lineup? Give those guys a reason or a want to try to climb back up to the top of the lineup, but don't make it easy for him.
Right.
You don't just give Carpenter leadoff because he says, I like it. I can't hit if I don't lead off. Well, get over it. You can't hit the opposite field, and the defensive shift has crippled you.
And I like that. And that was one thing I didn't like about Mike Matheny. I think Mike Matheny tried to be everyone's buddy.
Yeah.
You've been here a long time. You can stay there. No, Tony La Russa was more cutthroat. If you're not doing well,
Right.
you're out.
Yeah.
It's
Hey,
I don't care what you did 3 years ago. I'm curious what you're doing now. Unfortunately, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Same way in everything.
yeah, we got Andrew Vitale saying that Chris Duncan. That would have been a great DH guy.
Great.
Rest in
Terrible
peace.
outfielder.
Rest in peace, Chris
Yes.
Duncan.
CD.
Sad story with him.
Very,
great
very
guy.
sad.
That a great
but-
DH.
But talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Like how many key home runs did he hit for us?
Yeah.
Big
I
ones.
mean, that guy was, and that was a great guy to have on your ball club, and
Yeah.
he worked a very hard route to get there.
Yep.
So
He really
good
did.
call out on that, Vitale. I agree with that.
Yeah.
How about that? Back in his heyday, man, having
Yeah.
him as just our DH.
Phil Piavacek says National League needs to get on board with DH. It's long overdue. Pitcher hitting or bunting and double switching is overrated. I agree. I think we all agree with that,
Right.
Phil. We're all kind of in the same boat with that. It's just it handcuffs franchises at the end of some of these players' careers. You don't have the National League buyers that go out that try to buy the guy that's going to end up sitting there and being able to swing the bat.
Right.
We don't have Nelson Cruz's or Edwin Encarnacion or Jose Bautista's or some of these guys that could potentially have been huge home run hitters for a team if they just didn't have to worry about doing anything other than being in the
That was a real
batter's
good
box.
question about what National League player would you pick to be a DH?
Right.
Because in the National League, you didn't think about it because you had to field. You had to be a good fielder,
Yeah.
typically.
Right.
But there were some that you were like, geez.
You hit so good, we'll deal with
Jeff
your awful
Bagwell,
fielding.
kind of towards the end, it got harder for him to play first base. And I think he stayed in Houston all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Guys like that, I didn't even think of if they went to the American League or if they ended up being a DH, how much longer you could have seen those guys, too.
Right. I agree. We have Sean saying that he loved Berkman. Lance Berkman, big Puma.
Oh.
Could you imagine if that switch hitting dude played for you as a DH guy? I would have more of a universal DH guy than the guy that can switch hit and hit power from both sides of the plate.
He killed us in
Big
Houston,
Puma
too.
was an awesome
Killed
player.
us.
That's a great call out. I
Yep.
like that. I
love Lance
think that
Berkman.
Lance Berkman call out would have probably been a perfect a National League DH type of guy.
He was just a good hitter.
Yeah. Mike Catrava says man sodas for everyone.
Shout out Chris Duncan. Yo, man, sodas.
Man sodas over there. I'm just sticking with the Dr. Pepper because it works. You know how it is.
Yeah.
I got a problem over
Those are
here.
some good calls.
That's okay.
Let's see what we got here. Taylor Perkins says Dex plays with basketball shoes and then wonders why he has foot injuries every season.
He does.
He does wear the high tops, but I they're still cleats, and I don't think that they're non-baseball approved cleats. So I understand what you're saying. It looks a little bit different, but I think that you took the Cardinals in a moment when the Cubs won the World Series. and a guy like Dexter Fowler who had great success that year, had a career year for the Cubs.
Yeah.
And then also, I remember Dex when he played for Colorado as a rookie, coming up and coming.
Good.
He was not only a center fielder, but he stole bases. He
So
was kind of a
fast.
5-tool player. Like
Yeah,
he
he was
really
great.
could hit a home run here and there. He wasn't known for it, but he was a lot better known than what he is now for what his capabilities are. So I'm not opposed to them though. I mean, Dexter Fowler, if he could stay healthy, I know, like I said, he last season he had practiced in the offseason with Barry Bonds,
Yeah.
like with his
He was
whole
having a
thing.
rough spring.
He was, and
Real
what the
rough
thing is,
spring.
dude, it's a hard. St. Louis is sometimes a hard city to play professional sports.
And we know why that is.
Of course, because we have a history of winning.
expect
Winning.
Yeah.
Winning
A lot
is
out
it.
of you athletes.
If you're not playing well and we're paying you a lot of money,
Then
it's going to be
people are
even
gonna start
worse.
talking about it.
Matt Carpenter and Dexter Fowler are on the radar of every Cardinal fan. So, yeah, you got to perform.
Yeah, and then Taylor says Dex gets exposed without top tier talent around him, and you could say that.
There were
No,
some good players.
there was that Chicago team was so good as far as offensively, the way that whole thing ended up working out, that I think he played into it. He played into the fact that they were doing really well. I think that the dog got stepped on again out there.
Maybe.
But come here, Buster. But yeah, no, I mean
You're
that's
right. A lot of
definitely
factors came into that, and then we kind of got him at a. Do you think it was just kind of like a, well, we're going to take this guy from you because we're St. Louis and you're Chicago, and now it doesn't really. Yeah, it's not really working out too well for us, I guess.
I think so. I think that was just purely Dex had a good run, man. I mean, look
Joke's
at it.
on us.
It's the same kind of aspect of like Carpenter ended up getting a crap ton of money because of him just unleashing and hitting a crap ton of home runs.
Yeah,
Right.
that'll
So it's like, oh wow, thank you for what you've done for us. But in the grand scheme of things, what we're learning is that you need more of a sample size than 1 year.
Big year. Like, even
of
Ozuna.
being
I put
good.
Ozuna in that. Ozuna had a huge year in Miami the year before we got him, but before that year, he wasn't that great. And then after that year, was
Yeah.
not that great.
He's young though.
He had one great year.
He's kind of young though, right? So I
He's
mean, and
pretty
if
young
you
still,
look
but-
if you look into it, of the fact that he had a Gold Glove there, he also had consistency with the bat there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that
For that 1
Ozuna-
year, he was awesome.
I think Ozuna, if NL had a DH spot, I think he would have been perfect.
Yeah. The
DH.
DH.
Yeah, and that could have been a dangerous thing too.
Right.
Taylor Perkins says Tavares's ultimately death is why we settled on Fowler. Rest in peace.
I almost forget about
Rest in peace. Yes, Oscar Tavares. I think that you're right about that too. We had a lot of hopes for him, and he was a highly touted prospect. And then whenever he passed away, it was a car
Yeah,
crash
fast.
in the Dominican or wherever it was at. Yeah, we ended up losing him in that 4-star hand a little bit, and because of the fact that Dexter was kind of like that, hey, these are the numbers we need. He was a switch hitter. I mean, you got to look on paper. Dexter Fowler
looked
looked
like a good idea.
pickup,
Yeah.
but the money that they gave him was just way, way, way too much.
It was so hard, though, because everyone was like buying players then. Jason Hayward got stupid money from the Cubs.
Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah.
And you
You
talk
know,
about a
There
guy who
was
can
a
just
swap.
run.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
I mean, really,
212 average.
he made a couple good.
I mean-
he made a couple good plays in the outfield of running and catching a ball. But most of the time, he was scared to dive. Remember when he would let balls drop in front of him?
Right.
So
Didn't have
I was
much
never a J Hay fan at all. Whenever he was here or whenever
It's
I was
just
into
kind
the
of,
Cubs.
yeah.
Let's see. Mike Atrava says that loss changed the organization. He was going to be a franchise player. I think it's a little too early to say he was
hard
going
to
to be a
tell.
franchise player. I think that's what they were kind of, they put him out there like that. But I don't know if that's 100% on that, Mike. I don't know if I agree with that 100%.
We'll never know.
We've got the Dominican Republic is bad news for baseball players to visit. I swear, I agree. We had Fernandez got the boating in. That was in
Jose
Miami, though,
Fernandez.
right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that in
That was
Miami?
Miami, I think.
Yeah. Miami.
I mean, they take your family and hold them for ransom when
They
you're
do some
when
weird
you're a
stuff over there.
professional player just to get money out of you because I guess they're hard up for money. They'll hold your family for ransom.
Right.
That's happened to many players.
So, but no, I mean, it has, and I mean, look what happened over there with David Ortiz. He was shot in the club.
Yeah.
There's
Just
a-
walked right up. Do you remember watching that video?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was just like, really? Just walked right up and shot him.
yeah. That's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. So the Dominican is definitely a whole nother world.
Right.
It's scary.
I just saw my brother said call Chump and Uber, but really it's the water that I slammed and the one beer I slammed from the jelly bean.
Yeah, I know. Those
It, like,
for those of you that are watching
I
tonight,
wrecked the
Dude.
show tonight with these jelly
jelly
beans.
beans are tough.
That's a bad idea.
And
The
thank
red
you,
one just-
Nick and Brian, for nominating me to take the first one being 5 and the hottest because I
Do you
just got
still
it out of the
feel
way.
it?
No, I'm done.
I feel okay now, but I
done now.
keep having to pee.
Yeah, Matt Jerick
Sorry about
says
that.
car crash in the Dominican for Oscar Tavares. Yeah, it was definitely it too. So, but yeah, I would say though, like, you know, if you go back to it, like Prince Fielder, obviously before he left to go to Texas and whatnot, would have been a DH guy in the National League. You have
Ryan Braun's seen his injuries,
And he's
ramp
not-
up over the years.
And he's
Now
not the best outfielder. He's okay,
he
but
did good
eh,
DH for the Milwaukee
David
Brewers.
Wright?
He still hits bombs.
David Wright.
Let's talk about David Wright.
Yeah, would he
I,
still
lo-
be
I
in the
like
league?
David
He could
Wright.
be the
David
DH?
Wright might not have had as many injuries as he had if he could take some DH spots and not break his back diving
Right.
for balls. Right? And he
Yep.
did
He was
weird
He was
injuries.
the
for
biggest
him.
deal too. You remember David Wright was like in
He was
fantasy
fantastic.
baseball. You were
was
like,
awesome.
you got to get David Wright.
I mean,
but
he was fantastic. When
I
he
feel like
could
he's
play.
just fallen off.
Well,
Well, you
you-
haven't heard anything.
You crack a vertebrae or you do something like that in your back.
It's
you're-
going to affect you
Oh,
forever.
yeah.
the way the amount of torque that these guys put on their bodies trying to swing at
Come
some of
back
these
from that.
baseballs
Yep.
is insane.
Almost
Crazy.
impossible.
I try to like move a little bit through the list. So like Cincinnati, right? Cincinnati, we have Votto, who's going to be at the latter
Love
part of
Joey
his career.
Votto.
Huge DH spot potential, but he's a great first baseman still.
Great
so
first
you really
baseman.
can't take that away from him. I'm
Right.
saying maybe later on down the road, that would be a guy that you would have maybe in your DH spot. Maybe
I saw
Jay
someone say
Bruce,
Jay
right?
Bruce. Jay Bruce could do it. I think that would be
I mean, and he
Adam
bounced
Dunn
around
would have been a
because- yeah,
DH.
right.
You know, and if the National League could have worked, Adam Dunn might have been able to stay around for a little while.
He might have.
Yeah, because he moved to Chicago and
Right. I mean, think about
DH
what
there.
think about what the Dodgers would have been in that run whenever they had Machado.
they
If-
had a DH.
If they had if they had the DH for that, you know, and you could take players like Kershaw and some of these pitchers and keep them healthy, you know, like that. I mean, this throws a whole nother kind of outlook into the game
No,
when
it
you
totally
start
does.
talking about these things.
Seems like it's coming. The DH is coming to the National League.
And
I'm excited about it.
It's
You
gonna
know,
take a minute to adapt.
Kyle, when you first brought it up, I'm like, no, you can't do that. It's National League. But I'm more open and
You
the idea that I've ever
think
been.
I think we've got to, and like I said
Game's
though, it's
evolved.
to me, it's not
The
a
game has, yeah.
It's not a hey, let's make this DH spot in both. It's a let's make it equal in both. Yeah. Right.
This is a
If it's
great
gonna-
time to try this too.
Yeah, I think if they're going to throw out some of these different rule changes and whatnot, I think it's a good time.
Yeah.
For you to maybe introduce some of those and see how they go.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have the time. you
Yeah.
know? So let's make it happen. I'm hopeful for it. I want the DH spot to be a thing. Mike Cotrabas, a good DH
That's
now also. Fantastic.
very good one. Great one.
Fantastic DH
Josh
spot.
Bell can hit.
Yeah,
He's
you can't.
great.
But and first base, I watch him sometimes,
Moonshots,
and he's
though.
just like, eh.
Yeah,
But could he DH
Perfect
and
DH.
stay in the National League? Probably.
there you go.
Good.
So
That's a good one.
And I think something like this with the whole pandemic going on is going to be something that is forcing not only Major League Sports but businesses and everyone else like ourselves in general to have to change in the way that we do things.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So what better time now to introduce it to show people like, wow, that actually makes sense, and we should probably do that.
Right.
Because if you see that some of the players can get retained that normally would go to the American League whenever
Right.
their contracts are up,
Yeah.
then you're now providing, I think, a more competitive team in the National League.
I think so too.
So.
Can't argue. This is the perfect time to try all this stuff out. Let's
Yep.
do it.
Now you have besides Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh had who was that one guy Pittsburgh used to have as well too back in the day? Remember, Dominican guy, bigger guy used to
Pedro Alvarez.
Pedro Alvarez,
I remember him well.
right? So
Yeah.
I mean, there's another guy who was a bigger
Killed the
guy,
Killed the Cardinals, didn't he?
right? Another
Cardinal
guy,
killer.
maybe not necessarily like your typical like DH type guy, but I still think he would have been a possibility.
I think
Yeah.
he could have been.
You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
who are some other people that I'm trying to think of as well?
Pedro
too?
Alvarez, that's a good one. And
And
what
he did
happened
go
to
to
him?
the, and I believe he did
I
go to
think
the
he
AL,
did,
to
and then
DH or something.
maybe something
Didn't last
just
long.
didn't. It wasn't long. He wasn't there very long. So,
So maybe some of them don't pan out like you think they're going to pan out also.
Right.
you know,
So
it's
Mike
just
could call out on Josh Bell.
That's a good one.
Anybody else has any
That's a
other
good one.
DH guys that you think that are notable to potentially be in there? Or how about this? What guy that was a DH in the American League that's known for DH? I mean, don't get me wrong. If it was me, I mean, Big
Right.
Poppy all day long.
Yeah.
I know, don't get me wrong. That dude's just an absolute monster.
What?
Right.
Edgar
Mandy-
Martinez.
And what's that?
Edgar Martinez.
Edgar Martinez.
Seattle. I mean,
Yeah.
That's probably the best ever. I mean, they named
legend, DH legend.
that's
right
the trophy is named
Yeah,
the Edgar Martinez Trophy, like award.
How about this?
DH
Think about this for a second. Bo Jackson.
Yeah.
What if Bo Jackson was actually saying, "Hey, you know what? You're playing two sports right now.
Yeah.
Maybe we just keep you in a DH position because it's the White Sox, right?
Right.
White Sox were
Royals
the
and White Sox,
But
yeah.
wasn't
Right.
his fielding? Wasn't his arm like
his
that's
fielding
what
and his
had him
arm and
out
all
there?
that
He
were,
was
were
his
absolutely-
all around.
He
the
threw out
greatest
Harold
athlete
Reynolds
in
on, like, the-
history of
from the
sports.
track.
right.
He threw out Harold Reynolds at home.
Now I'm not saying take Bo out of the field. I'm just saying that give him rest, right? Maybe he wouldn't. Maybe that day when he dislocated his hip wouldn't have been a thing, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. Is that you have guys like that too that just they don't have that as an option, and they didn't have that as an option as in the National League team, and that could have prolonged a career. It could have changed a lot of things for an organization.
A lot of these players we talked about.
So yeah, I for sure. Let's see. Imagine McGuire from '99 as a DH.
Oh,
That would have been interesting. There's been some talk about that McGuire Sosa home run.
I'm totally
Supposed to be
stoked
coming
for
out.
that.
Looking
Yeah.
forward to that for sure.
did anybody
Another
else?
doc.
Another doc. Did anybody get to go, like, get taken to the, batting practice 3 hours early? My dad would take me 3 hours, and I'd be like,
Bombs
"Why
into
are
the
we?"
bleachers?
Why are we?
Yeah.
He was like, "You need to watch Mark McGuire take batting practice. You
Yeah.
will love it."
Oh,
And,
dude, he just moved.
man, it's just bombs one after another, and it was almost better than the game watching McGuire just crush him.
Yeah.
You would go
One
to the
after
games
another.
2 to 3 hours before
Yeah.
they let you in. I mean, he was
Just to
doing
watch
some
him-
crazy stuff.
Smash continuously.
That was fun.
That was a good time.
Yeah, I like this. Phil Piavarchek says, I think it was a quote by manager Earl Weaver who was asked about pitchers hitting, and he said, "We only get 27 outs. Why give up any of them?" Right?
That's
I
a
agree.
great point.
That's a great quote.
That's
Phil,
great.
Good call out. Thank you for
Right.
tuning in
That's
and
a
throwing
very
that out.
good one.
I mean, to me, like financially, like you're putting in bigger name players. You're putting in players that you, like I said, you're giving them a chance to see. Right. So if you get a chance to see these guys that you weren't able to see in the National League and they groom themselves and come up as these up and comers, it's a beneficial thing for the league.
I agree.
And like I said, the people that are out there that give you that argument that says, "Oh, man, I really think that, the pitcher, I like watching the pitchers hit and this and that." I think you're smaller. I think you're a minority as far as that goes, as far as that number.
Does anyone actually like to watch the pitcher hit? Go ahead and chime in. I want to see somebody tell me why. And what would be your reasoning for why you'd want the pitcher to hit?
100%.
Don't just say strategy.
Yeah.
Right. I want to
over
know.
that.
See, we got Sean Lorenz saying, "I remember being at a game with my dad. McGuire smoked 3 in one game." He did that
Man, he would just
more than
go,
one time in his
yeah.
in his career.
It's magical.
Can you remember that? Can you go back into that time frame of whenever we had to
Absolutely.
get to watch that? Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, just a phenomenal run, and the fact that
He was going to
What
hit
about-
one every game.
What about the camaraderie thing too between Sammy Sosa and
they were
Mark
best
McGwire?
buddies. It appeared.
Yeah,
It was pretty cool.
yeah, that was.
I
Really,
can't wait for that documentary.
I'd like to see some
that-
behind the scenes stuff because I've heard a lot of stuff, but
a couple weeks away, I think that'll be out.
coming out.
That'll be a
They
lot of fun
bumped
to
that
watch.
up. I think that's coming
Yeah.
out soon. It's going to be great.
We could use that right now. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Ooh, Taylor says if the NL had a DH, Puig would have a contract. I can agree
Good
with
call.
that.
I
Now,
forgot about
another one.
Puig.
There was some
They
fake
said-
news that came out the other day that my buddy tried telling me that apparently Yasiel Puig signed a contract with the Cardinals for 2 years, and it was all BS. I didn't see anything else follow up on it. Now, here's the thing, though. I'm not going to lie to you. Why not? Why would you not want a Yasiel Puig on a
I
team
mean, I don't
that
know
has
why you wouldn't.
that has veterans that's as established as we are? I think his kind of, if he doesn't try to be too flashy, I think he could work. But if he
I
tries
think
to let his ego get out, I think Molina could be potentially
Yeah,
a
I
good
agree.
mentor for him.
keep him a little more headstrong.
He
That's
would be-
his problem. Is
he could probably
flies
keep
off the handle.
Puig in check. I think Yachty could have him.
I think so.
kind of kept, and he's much better than he used to be. Bat flipping on deep fly balls to right center field
Right.
was not
Right.
maybe the best.
Right, that's true.
Singles,
But yeah,
You think
sack
it's a
fly to
home
right.
run.
Yeah.
Bro.
Throw my pad
So,
over.
well,
that out.
let me throw this
He's
out
he's
for you.
come a
Would
long
would you guys embrace Yasiel Puig
I'll
as an
take him.
outfielder?
I'll take him.
As somebody to
As a DH?
potentially replace
DH
Well,
outfielder.
let's say not as a DH outfielder. Let's say
not
since
even
we just lost
horrible. He got
Ozuna.
it done.
Okay, we lost Ozuna. We need some sort of power in the lineup, right? We have Goldschmidt. Maybe we get Arenado. Could you imagine if
I would take a
Puig,
shot.
if Puig settled in here? Now, but what you're doing is though is you're probably giving out a lot more money than what you need to, and then handcuffing O'Neal and Bader and some of those other
He's
guys.
not
times.
demanding that much.
He's not.
I don't think so. I think does he even have a team to play for right now? Puig? I think he's free.
I think he's a
Cleveland
free
was
agent.
last,
I think
right?
he's
That's
free.
what I think. Taylor was saying that he is.
If you dropped him $2 or $3 million, and we
Yeah.
end up with the DH, I think Yasiel Puig will play a lot more than you think, and I think the Cardinal fans will deal.
Yeah. Taylor Perkins says Schilt would have a great impact on Puig's behavior. I
Very,
think that's true.
very much so.
And then I think that Mike Traub also says he'd take Puig in a heartbeat.
Yep.
We also have Mike saying earlier that steroids are not. Big Mac helped bring this game out of a gutter, and I agree. That was in the midst of the steroid era. Yes, I would say that was needed at that time.
Yep.
Because of the fact that we needed to get baseball back on the map. It was losing a little bit of its gusto, I would say, especially after the lockout and stuff. Right? Is that what
That
it
was
was
a lot of
talking
fun
about?
watching baseball then, though.
It was.
I mean, Brady Anderson. I don't know if everyone remembers him, but he was like a little bitty guy on Baltimore, and he ended up hitting like 50 that
Might have
year.
been juiced
Yeah.
up.
Oh, he was college. I couldn't believe like Rafael Palmeiro did it, and some guys I just didn't think. But
You know who I was a huge fan of on the up and come that was basically supposed to be touted, but he couldn't stay off the injury list? Grady Sizemore.
Grady's, well, I'm an Indians fan.
Cleveland Indian.
I got to sign Sizemore ball.
I mean, great player.
Such a prospect.
Heart. I mean, the guy was everything.
Great
you could
outfitter.
ask. Yeah.
yeah.
How
So
about a couple more DH contributors that could possibly go from the AL to the NL? I got Mark Trumbo.
Yeah.
Think about Mark Trumbo at all?
Trumbo would be a
He's
guy
a power
that,
hitter.
Yeah. I mean,
he
where
would be
was
good.
where was he playing at last year? He was in Arizona for a while. He was
Orioles.
in Orioles for a while.
He was good on the Angels when the Angels were kind
He's
of
good on the Angels.
bringing it around.
Another injury guy that's been just
Yeah,
crushed with
injuries have really got
but
him.
If he was a DH, would he
That would be a good role
have
for
less
him.
injuries?
Right.
You got Melky Cabrera too, another guy
Melky
you think
Cabrera.
about.
Now, here's the thing about Melky though. Melky was caught up in the pH, the whole steroids thing,
Yeah.
multiple times now.
Sure.
Right.
He's done like 25 games, 50 games. I think he even did 100 games
He's had numerous
suspension.
suspensions.
Yeah. So that's a guy that I don't think. I mean, he's a great hitter.
He's
But
never
not-
batted lower than 273.
No, he's great. He's a great
Every
hitter.
year past
Great
decade.
hitter, but he's not a guy that I would want on my team based on the fact that
You
he
cheated and
Cheated
that
and
could
then-
have led to your
Right.
inflated numbers.
Right.
Totally makes sense. Last guy I got here, another one. I like Hanley Ramirez. Does he
Man,
still have
he
some
just kinda fell
gas
off.
left in the
Manny
tank?
Ramirez.
Hanley.
Oh, Hanley.
Hanley,
Oh, he actually
Hanley
is,
Ramirez.
He actually had signed or was doing a minor league contract with somebody.
He played in the
season
Dominican
turned
Winter
to.
League this
Remember how good
offseason.
he was? Really good.
He was phenomenal. He was a fantasy player, like a guy that you wanted on your
You
team.
wanted him every year.
Yeah.
He fell right off, but that's
know,
would a National
Yeah.
League team with a fresh DH want someone like that?
I
Yeah.
thought about Ramirez. I think of Manny. I went to Cleveland, and they have this machine that would shoot tennis balls out, and they would write on a Sharpie a number, like with a Sharpie. And the tennis balls would shoot at 170, 180
I'd be
miles
able
an
to
hour.
tell you what number was
And
on there.
Manny Ramirez could tell you
That's some
ball
vision.
after ball what number was on it. And they
That
said the
is
only other player they ever seen do it was Trot Nixon. You remember him at all?
I remember him,
Trot
yes.
Nixon was a good hitter, but
Yeah.
I remember the guy when we were getting touring the field of Progressive. He told me Manny Ramirez could tell you every number on the ball. On the tennis
We've got
ball. I'm like,
we've
wow.
got some cool comments here. So we've got Mike Rosesi says Jim Thome was awesome. I agree.
Love Jim Thome.
Jim Thome was a fantastic
One of my
fantastic guy.
favorites. Yeah.
Sean Loren says, I don't care if players go back to doing cocaine. For the price we pay for tickets, give me a show. I hear you out, man.
Get Daryl Strawberry back out
Right,
there.
put Daryl
Do a couple
Strawberry back
lines
out
and
there.
hit a couple home runs.
Bring him back.
And then Taylor Perkins said, steroids only made home runs go further. I don't believe they affected hand-eye coordination. That's a good call.
I would
Still
agree.
have to be able to hit a ball at 100 miles per hour.
think-
Steroids or not.
Think of it this way, though. Think of how good of natural hitters that Sammy Sosa, Mark McGuire, and Barry Bonds were already, and the
Right.
fact that they used the
Bonds
steroids,
especially.
it just allowed them to hit the ball more square and use their power as an advantage to move the ball. So
I mean, Mark McGuire was hitting bombs when he was even in
Yeah.
1987.
USA
88,
and
so-
those rookie cards.
Right.
Team USA. He was like,
Yeah, he was hitting home runs big then. He just
right.
he started having a lot of injuries right before we got him, and I think that's kind of one reason he was taking stuff. Stay healthy.
yeah, there's a lot
Right.
of players
Ooh,
come back
that's
from
a good
injury
call,
quicker.
too.
Take those the HGH
Yep.
and stuff, but
The
just to
HGH.
come back quicker from injury.
Andrew Vitale throws out there a DH guy, Justin Bohr. Not a bad pick.
Justin
Miami
Bohr.
guy that
Good call.
came through with the bat last year.
Good
I
call.
believe it
He's
was.
got some
been kind
power.
of coming,
All-star
coming
last year,
around.
too,
Yeah, it's a
wasn't
good call, Vitale, for sure.
I like Justin Bohr.
Yeah.
He could do something. if in that role, I don't know. I think he's on Miami, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is. He's like the only bright spot on that team now.
Pretty much. There's not a whole lot, Brian.
So
Maybe some young pitchers coming up, but other than that, the Marlins just keep digging themselves deeper. When they get somebody good, they usually go.
yeah,
To think they had Yelich, Stanton, and Ozuna.
Ozuna. Yeah,
Oh, what are you
But-
doing?
but you're talking about a team too that financially was like, we can't afford these guys. We are not filling up seats
Yeah.
in the stadiums. And
Let's
and
worry
that was
about putting
Jeter.
an aquarium behind
Jeter
home plate.
now, right?
Yeah,
he was kind of
Jeter
the one
had
who
to
wanted
come
to do
through
the
and-
whole
Yeah.
fire sale,
Yeah,
right?
he had, well, you had.
He's
to.
got a vision. He's not a
It's not
dummy.
even that he had a vision. It's
Yeah.
the fact that it's a business, and
Right.
that in the grand scheme of things, that he knew that he was not going to have the money to get Stanton to stay. You know, he didn't have the money to get Ozuna to stay, and
Or
he didn't
Yelich.
even know what he had with Yelich.
Right.
Let's be serious here. Yelich was a steal. Yelich was a fantastic player. Not saying anything against him, but I think for what he was putting out his worth for Miami, Milwaukee got an absolute steal. Got an absolute
Oh,
steal.
they got the MVP.
Yeah.
thought
It was kind of between Ozuna and Yelich coming here, wasn't it?
excited about Ozuna. I'm like, oh, we got Ozuna. That's better than Yelich anyway. Well, that definitely
out
was
wrong.
not the case.
Yeah.
No one
At
knew
the time,
Yelich.
it was a good idea, but
Yeah.
Yelich has totally turned out to be one of the best players in the league.
Yeah. Sean
Missed that-
Loren
missed that
says,
vote.
I've got to admit, though, the emphasis on the home run ball is really killing baseball for me. I think the changing in the baseball and the fact that more balls are flying out of the stadium and whatnot, it's not fair to the pitchers. It's not fair that to the players that played in the past that had to use the lesser technology. Could you imagine how far the balls would have gone if Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa, these
God.
guys would have been able to hit them too?
Do you remember that home run derby in Fenway when people were like out on the street for McGuire and they're just like one after another down the street? He's just hitting them.
Yeah.
God, that was fun.
Yeah.
I love those old home run derbies. Those were a lot of fun.
Yeah, Sean also says it's my favorite sport, but strikeouts are high because of the home run ball. I mean, there's a caveat to it. You only have so many strikeout pitchers.
Right.
So I mean, unless they're a strikeout pitcher, I think that they're still getting their strikeouts. I just think that these guys that would normally be giving up maybe fly balls at the warning track are now traveling 20 yards further.
Right.
And going out of the park, which is not necessarily fair to what the other players had to go up with
Right.
years prior. We have here Micah Travis says, absolutely, I love small ball, and you don't see that much anymore. Yeah, I think we're getting back to it. I think it's kind of the
it could
evolution
be.
of how things go.
Yeah.
Like first we wanted, like I say, with technology, we want everything to be bigger, bigger, bigger. Now everything's like, how small can you get it? It's kind of the
Right.
same thing with baseball. It's like, how much power can you get? And now it's like, well, how much speed can you get? And versatility as far as guys like Trey Turner, who can hit a ball out of the park, who can also steal every bag.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal player.
I've always been a fan of the guys who were stolen base guys. That was always kind of fun.
Right.
Watching Ricky Henderson was basically like daring you
Yeah,
to throw home. He was going to take second base.
Right.
It's just what it was. So
right.
it was a fun part of the game back then.
Phil throws out another thing too. And he goes, imagine how many players were on steroids that didn't hit 70 bombs that season. Still
Right.
have to
You
make
wouldn't even
contact.
know.
So that's true. Like these guys, you can't take away the fact that these guys were natural hitters,
Right.
even though the fact that they did what they did.
Right.
You still
So
have to be able to hit a ball. It's
Right.
one of the hardest things to do in sports.
Taylor Perkins says Moustakis for DH in St. Louis. I like Moose, but I don't think that I'm not a big fan of Moose. I don't dislike him, but he's not a
Right.
guy that I want to see play for my team. I just think that he's a streaky guy. I don't think
Yeah.
he's going to give you consistency, especially now at this time. in his career.
Arenado.
Arenado is
We're focusing.
Arenado is where it's
Emilio
at.
energy on
Arenado.
We've got what do we have here? So Katrava says Yelich wasn't available until Ozuna was gone, so we had no option to pick him up. I don't even know. I mean, honestly, I think
Ozuna
back
was
then,
more-
honestly though, Katrava, I think that depending on how the deal would have worked out, we could have luckily have gotten Ozuna and Yelich
Yeah.
if the deal
That
was there. But I don't, because like I said, I
was
don't
a
think
thought.
Miami knew what they had there out of Yelich, and we'll see if he continues to do that. But Taylor says Yelich is good, but he benefits from playing in Milwaukee.
Very home run friendly.
It's home run
Very-
friendly, but you once again, like Phil said, he's putting contact on the ball, and he's not just hitting home runs.
No.
You got a guy that was literally in the going for the batting title last year before he got hurt and
Right.
split his kneecap in half, I think.
Yeah.
something like that.
Terrible
So,
injury at a
yeah.
terrible time.
yeah, we have what do we have here? We have Eric saying, every time I watch you guys, I'm reminded of the Sweaty Balls skit on this Saturday Night Live. You guys should do a parody of it sometime.
like that. I like that.
I like that.
I like that.
I like that
I
too.
really like
I really
that.
think we should
I
talk
like
about
that.
Should
that.
probably do
Yeah.
that someday.
Mark
really
actually,
enjoyed
Mark over here is actually going to be talking about his new beer. Mark, what was the name of that?
Sweaty balls.
Mark Sweaty Balls. There you go. There you go,
Wow.
Eric.
Sweaty
That's
balls.
that's about as good as you're going to
Sweaty
get for it.
balls.
We had somebody else talk
Fancy.
about that. It was Pete's
Oh,
Sweaty
yeah, we
Balls from
did see
Saturday
that.
Night Live. If you guys do have YouTube, go ahead and check it out. It's one of my favorite Saturday Night Live skits from back in the day. But yeah, we were sitting like all three next to each other and using that real soft voice.
I like that.
You know, I'd like that too.
I like that.
Yeah, I
It's
like
really
that.
good. It's
Yeah,
really
that'd be
good.
good.
So yeah, Eric could call out on that. I think that's absolutely, you've hit it right on the
Sweaty
head.
balls.
But guys, I don't know. If the chat still has questions for us, let us hear it.
I'm loving the chat. There's a ton of
lot of
comments.
chatting
It's
tonight. I
amazing.
love it. We had
Very
a lot of
good.
topics that we went over as well too. If you guys do have any other questions, let's start getting some of those out right now and seeing if we have anything. If not, then we'll go ahead and sign off. But
We love you guys.
yeah, I mean, it's been a good show. Thank you. Sorry for the
For the
technical
delay.
difficulties
Yeah.
and the
And
delay.
Slight delay
Delay.
tonight.
Yeah.
We'll work on that.
Yeah,
Yep.
we're gonna get better.
We want to be better for you guys.
We'll be
But
better.
while
Every
we're waiting
week
to
we'll
see,
get better.
while we're waiting to see if they have any more questions out here, let's say that the end of let's go to hockey for a second.
Yeah.
Okay. Blues get rid of Pietrangelo right at the end of the season. Ryan O'Reilly is your new captain.
Yeah.
Okay. Jay Bouwmeester's not coming back. You spent some money on some players. Who's a guy that you think free agent wise that you pick up that's an impact on your team? Blues. You got to think this. Now we're the Blues now, and there's a certain type of player that fits into our organization. Now, me personally, my pipe dream is Alexander Barkov. We talked about that. Honestly, I love.
Boy, who
I think
wouldn't
that
love
dude's a
that?
fantastic
Well, yeah,
player.
we would love
However,
that.
he's not a free agent. It would be a trade piece. But Mike Hoffman is coming up again.
I've always liked Mike Hoffman.
I mean,
Drama.
is it just
felt
the
like-
fact that he literally scores for every team that he plays for?
He produces.
He plays for Ottawa. He scores goals. He plays for Florida. He scores goals, and he gets assists too. He's a great player to have on your team.
a good player.
That's a guy I've kind of been curious if he'd fit on the Blues.
Since you have a pipe dream and it's Barkov, my pipe dream has always been Evgeny Malkin.
Oh, Malkin,
Evgeny
you like
Malkin.
Malkin?
Oh, I want to bring Malkin. I want to see Malkin in a Blues jersey.
Oh, here we go. We got a quick question. Taylor Perkins says, "Great podcast tonight, boys. Thank you, Taylor, and thank you for the
Thanks,
the
Taylor.
questions
Thanks,
and
buddy.
chiming in." Vitali says, "Who's the sleeper teams for the MLB? Reds? Question mark. Reds had. I put to tell you the truth, Vitali. I put the fact that I think the Reds will probably be a tough second to the Cardinals this year. Even though we lost Ozuna, I still think the Cardinals are going to be competitive.
Yeah.
I think it's going to go Cardinals and
be.
then either Reds, Cubs." Because I think that the Reds will be more competitive with Sonny Gray. And,
No faith in the Brewers.
Brewers are kind of they didn't do anything to kind of a change. They lost Moustakis. Moustakis is a Cincinnati Red now, correct? So isn't he?
Did he?
I think he isn't Moustakis on
I
Cincinnati.
don't think
now?
Castellanos was one guy.
Castellanos is there too. Double check that.
They
and
made
see.
some moves.
Yeah.
They made some moves. I'm going to go outside of the Central Division with my MLB sleeper pick because I love the San Diego Padres. They're going to put it together one of
I
these
want
years.
them. I'd be okay if San Diego went on a run.
They're going to put it together one of these years, and let's make it a shortened season.
Yeah. You have Mike Travis says Twins. He goes, I don't think they're a sleeper, but they have a nasty lineup. I think that they're a team that they're
Yeah.
starting to see their prospects
They're
come
Reds,
together.
Moustakis.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Moustakis went to the Reds.
Twins are nasty for sure. They got Byron Buxton. They got Max Kepler. That guy was he from the Twins? He
Yeah,
turned
I
it on
think he
last year.
was.
He had a crazy year last year.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping. I'm always hoping for Cleveland. You
Yeah.
always have to have
Me
Cleveland's
too.
always good year
I like
after year.
Cleveland. Sean Loren says
my
Reds
team.
Reds certainly are going to be dangerous. Lived in Cincy for 2 years recently. Those people deserve something good in sports real soon. I agree, man.
Not much.
Cincinnati sports has
Not
been
getting
rough.
much from the
and
Bengals.
I've got some really good friends that I consider family that live out in that area that have been supporting some of those teams for a long time as well. And it has been tough. I'm not gonna lie. They've had some competitive baseball teams before, with
Yeah.
Votto and the Brandon Phillips.
There's only
times
one
whenever they were
problem.
doing that.
The Cardinals are in that same
Exactly. Exactly.
That's your problem.
So yeah.
Not toot my own horn, but
Yeah.
dude.
And then we got Roberto Perez, who's chiming in. He's actually a diehard Cubs fan.
Oh, yeah?
He says Cards competitive, haha.
Ooh.
So Roberto,
Good one,
me
Cubs
and
fan.
Roberto always had some good talks at Best Buy about baseball. He's a good friend of
Yeah.
mine as well too. I will tell
just
you,
Josh.
Roberto, the one thing that I can tell you is that if you guys have even a decent year this year, that's not going to change the fact that you're going to lose Rizzo or Bryant or both.
Sorry.
And that's my opinion. I don't know for a fact, but I think there's some bad blood right now in the organization. And if you guys lose those two pieces and then try to build around Baez and Contreras, it's just not going to happen.
Were there talks about Lester going back to Boston? Did I see that somewhere?
I didn't see that.
I thought I saw that somewhere.
No, I didn't see that.
Not that
Could be.
I don't know what his contract is. I don't know what the deal
Yeah,
is.
and
but
Taylor said yes on Moose and Cincy. Yeah, we got that. I mean, he's not a bad player,
No.
Moose, but he's a guy that looks like he would be a DH guy here soon, the next year or two.
Sure.
So, but yeah, that's a good call out for Moose for sure.
Yep.
But yeah, I would say my sleeper picks, just to go on that. I think we did this last time. I think I said Cleveland was my AL team.
I'm always going to pick Cleveland.
I didn't realize you were that big of a Cleveland fan, but I just think that Francisco Lindor and
Jose Ramirez.
Kipnis. Did Kipnis get traded?
Kipnis, I think, is gone.
I think he
they
did get
just didn't
traded, yeah.
sign him.
Kind of fell off.
think his
those.
contract
Carlos
was
and
up.
Santana
Yeah.
came back and had a
Santana's
monster year
back.
last year.
They've got a good young core in the outfield too. So Cleveland's always going to rebuild within.
Yeah.
They always have,
Yeah.
and they always do well.
Sure.
So they've got good scouting in Cleveland because they don't have the money to pay when it gets to that point where they can't really pay guys anymore.
Right.
They got to find a way within to compete,
Right.
but they're doing it. So
I agree. Mike Travis says he hates the Cubs, but man, I love Baez. How can you not?
it's so good. I
Baez
hate how
is good.
cocky he is, but
Yeah.
he's so good.
Yeah, he could be the next Machado.
Yeah.
I think as far as it goes. Now, San Diego was a good call because, I mean, look who they got. They got Tatis Jr.,
Tatis
who's
Jr.
a phenomenal.
He's a stud.
Phenomenal, right?
Stud.
You have Manny Machado, who, I'm sorry, I don't think that the guy's as big of a shithead as people think he is. I mean, yeah, he did some stupid stuff, and when he played for the
Young
Dodgers, in
kid,
the
he had a
playoffs.
lot to learn.
Yeah,
Understood,
and that's
maybe.
some competitiveness coming out of
Cocky
him too. Now,
ego
people
guy.
they've rubbed him the wrong way.
Acuna needs to kind of get in check with that because he's so good.
So Acuna, I think after the playoffs this past year, and you seeing him kind of have a little bit of lackluster running out balls, Atlanta's not going to play that, right?
Danger
And
out
Freddie
of
Freeman ain't
now,
gonna play
now,
that.
now
They'll
here's
teach
the
you
thing though
right
too.
away.
You're talking about right now a guy that is putting up Trout numbers.
Yeah,
Ronald Acuna Jr.
he's that good.
He's that
he
good.
really is that good.
Like I'm serious. I mean, if you put him up to it, I think that his numbers are right in line with Mike Trout.
Right.
We'll get Dover on here one time to do some Atlanta breakdown for us because Austin Riley.
There's a
and
good team in
There's
Atlanta.
a lot of guys in Atlanta.
Probably should have beat us.
Yeah.
Should have beat
I
us
mean,
probably.
It's just weird because we always have that matchup against the Cubs or against the Braves.
Yeah.
And it stems back to the whole infield fly rule thing in
Remember
that
that.
wild card game that we
Oh,
played. Remember that?
They lost it.
So
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah.
forget that.
But hey, guys, I think we're gonna wrap it up there. We got no more questions coming in from the chat. Once again, thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
hanging in
Thanks,
late with
guys.
us.
Love
Yeah.
all the comments. It
Late
was
night show, plenty of
constant
interactiveness.
flow.
Yeah,
Very
I love
good.
it. That's what
we love.
Yeah, we like you guys getting interactive with us and asking
Yeah.
questions. So
Yeah.
we had a lot of fun tonight. So thanks for tuning in. Also, if you guys have not already, please join the group for the Nameless Shameless podcast.
Love it.
We're also looking at other avenues of getting YouTube, Instagram, and some other social
Coming
networking
soon.
stuff
Yeah.
coming out as well.
We're working
So,
on it.
Also, maybe some green screen play and some stuff too.
yeah.
Got a
So
lot of things coming down the pipeline for
yeah,
you
I'm
guys.
gonna up the production quality since you guys are having so much fun and almost
are we.
3,000 views on that video that we did on
Love
Monday.
it. So awesome.
It just blows
Thank
me
you
away.
guys
So
so much.
thank you a million times. You guys have a good night. And if you do go onto the page and make comments, if you have any suggestions on stuff you want us to talk about for our Monday show, we're
Bring
open
it.
to that. Like we said, there's
Let's
not
do
a
it.
whole lot going on right now. So if people
Make
can
it
come up with some really
interesting.
cool stuff, which you guys had great questions tonight.
You're
was
creative out
great.
there, y'all.
So, yeah.
all
Keep
the
the creativity
all
coming.
the commenting the whole time was almost a steady flow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You
Yeah.
guys are sweet, man.
And then last but not least, too, I think with us doing kind of these beer shout outs and whatnot, too, we wanted to kind of transition into doing maybe some food reviews and shout outs.
Absolutely.
So if you guys have any places that are around here that you think are must have or something like that, we would love to go out there as a group and try it out and then come back and give you guys some
Keep
feedback.
Roberto's on your radar.
yeah,
nice.
exactly.
Roberto's,
Nice.
South
You want to
County.
take the wife or the missus or girlfriend out? Take
Date
them to
night.
Roberto's. It's a very nice place. They got awesome food there.
Oh yeah.
Very good place.
Oh yeah,
Shout out to
Sean
these
Lorenz says, "Hell yeah, look forward to it." So thanks guys
Thanks, Sean.
again, and thanks for tuning in, and we will see you Monday.
Love you
All right.
guys.
Later, guys.
Peace.